do that before we get started this morning, so that way we can get that room cleared out and everybody's got their stuff and we don't have to try to figure it out when everybody's trying to leave today. So that it will be down behind lanes 1 and 2. You'll go see Lindsay. She'll ask you to sign for it and purchase it at that point in time. Winner of Liz Culkin autographed bowling ball is Marissa Myers. Jordan Richards Rubicon is Rachel Luna. Taylor Bullheis's Revenant is Corey Ator. Stephanie Johnson's Zen is Adam Wilson. Stephanie Johnson's Churro Dynamics is Tara White. Stephanie Zaliva's Fast Pitch is Rachel Luna. And the winner of the autographed jersey and bowling ball from Deanna Asbeatty is Heidi Kirchner. So if the bowler or the parent would like to go down to lanes 1 and 2, get that squared away, we would certainly appreciate it this morning. So I hope everyone had a good time over at Kingpin Social last night. It looked like, from what I saw, everybody had a pretty good time. They put on a nice event for us, so really appreciate them over there for helping us out with that. We'll go ahead and get started with our awards this morning. We're going to start with the U15 ladies from yesterday afternoon. Finishing in 3rd place with a score of 875, Emily Beatty. Finishing in 2nd place yesterday morning with a score of 901, Sophia DeLucia. And the winner of round 2 for U15 girls yesterday with a very nice 10:05, Savannah Portillo.
Hey, at least you agreed to it.
Congratulations, ladies. Very nice bowling yesterday. Moving on to the U18 girls yesterday afternoon, finishing in 3rd place with an even 1,000, Brooklyn Heeb.
You're just messing up everything.
Finishing in 2nd place yesterday with a score of 1015, Gianna Brandolino. And our 1st place winner in the U18 girls yesterday, averaging a very nice 243 with a score of 1215, Abigail Starkey.
Can I have, oh wait guys.
Nice bowling, ladies. Congratulations. A.T. Growthhouse. Finishing in second place yesterday with a score of 1069, Rush Steen. And yesterday's leader for the U15 boys with a score of 1159, Anthony Swanson.
Definitely mine.
Excellent bowling yesterday, gentlemen. Moving on to the U18 boys, finishing in third place with a score of 1077, Trey Hendricksmeyer. Finishing in second place yesterday on the long was the 1107 Griffin Jordan. And your first place winner for the U18 boys yesterday with a score of 1110, Landon Jordan. Excellent bowling yesterday, gentlemen. After this morning's round, we will be cutting to the top 4 in all 4 divisions. The finals will be contested on a fresh medium condition today, so we will re-oil for the finals. Payouts for cashiers, let's pay attention so you know if you get an award or not. Yeah, that worked. U15 girls will be paying 4 spots. U18 girls, we will be paying 6 spots. U15 boys, 8 spots. U18 boys, 10 spots. High qualifier overall will also receive a $100 bonus. If you do not make the step ladder, but you are going to cash, I'm going to ask you to wait until we do scores after the block today. We will do some awards and do presentations prior to announcing the finals. So we missed out on that opportunity last year. We missed a lot of pictures because people had to leave. So if you're going to cash, hang tight, get a picture with us quick before you leave if you would. I appreciate it. We will again be selling raffle tickets throughout the block. We've got a number of prizes down on the raffle table. We've got chamois, bowling balls, jerseys. We still got that cool poster that was signed by Storm staffers. Those are all behind lanes 33 and 34. We will draw those prizes after qualifying today. So while we're tabulating scores, we will do that raffle after qualifying prior to announcing our finals. Bowlers, there are a lot of faces in the building today that aren't bowling. I'm guessing they're the people that brought you here. Without support systems from all of you, none of this works, because I'm guessing none of you have the cash and cars and stuff to get here on your own for the most part. So athletes, please give your parents and spectators a round of applause. Thank them for coming today. So just a reminder, we are competing on the medium pattern today. We will be skipping 2 pairs, going to the right. Yesterday, hey, pay attention here quick. We had some issues with bowlers jumping into pairs before they were completed. If the pair that you're moving to isn't done, don't put your stuff on the rack, don't go
We got
crowd.
like 5 minutes.
Find a place to put your stuff. Don't go crowd the bowlers that are trying to finish. We had some issues with it yesterday, so let's just make sure we stay consistent and be conscientious of the bowlers that we're coming to. You wouldn't want somebody coming in on your pair trying to crowd you before you're done. So give them the space and courtesy to get completed. Surface adjustments are allowed until until the first shot of competition. Score sheets. We had some trouble tracking score sheets yesterday too. I know the parents want to help out and keep them, and that's awesome. Make sure the score sheets are on the counters. That way our volunteers know where to grab them, they know where to get them, they can stay consistent, and that's how we get scores done quicker than any other tournament you go to. If we know where the score sheet is, we get bowmetrics updated before the third or fourth frame of the next game. Most tournaments you go to can't get that done. We do, because we know where the score sheets are. So if you can help us out with that, we really appreciate it. I'm done talking. Let's go ahead and get our 15 minutes of practice get started.
And good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Cadillac XBC. It is the home of the Midwest Youth Main Event, the 2023 edition, or it is really properly known as the Midwest Youth Main Event Round 2, which I really enjoy, and it's a play on boxing if you enjoy boxing or any combat type of sport. All we need is Matthew McConaughey to walk around holding up the Round 2 sign, and it really would be ideal. And speaking of Matthew, he is joining us here early this morning. If you've been watching this, not only this morning but yesterday and the afternoon, the voice you hear for the announcements and award presentations is one Matthew. So we appreciate him and all he has done along with the entire YBSF staff. Matthew, good morning. How are you today?
Good morning, sir. How are you? I appreciate I think everybody would appreciate a little bit if I did carry a round card and probably talk less. That'd probably be okay with some folks, but no, appreciate you coming out to help us out again with Round 2 this year. It's I said it last year and I'll say it again. As far as live streaming goes, you are one of the best in the business, and to put a professional voice and professional production on for us is just one of those value-added things that really makes our event special. So we appreciate you coming out to help us out this weekend.
Well, speaking of that, I mean, it's I feel like Round 2 came pretty quickly, right? You just got done with Round 1, it seems, and that was obviously a success. And then not only was it a success, you came back and you have a few more entries and all of the above, and you do a little coaching all at the same time. So from your vantage point, how has this weekend gone to this point, and what were I can't imagine there were any deterring factors that said, hey, maybe we shouldn't do this again for the next year?
No, not at all. Not at all. It was to say that I said it last year, and in year one, I mean, it was a ton of work, and the payoff was awesome. This year, I mean, it was still that same amount of work, but we went from 80-ish entries to a sold-out 102 field with a waiting list of 20 deep, roughly 3 weeks before the tournament. So, I mean, people coming is reason enough to understand that, hey, we're doing something right. You know, whether it's the little value-added things that we try to really emphasize and be cognizant of, and you know, another member of our group, Brandon Steen, and myself, we both have kids that are pretty active on the competitive side of things, you know, going to different events, and you know, we see things that we not necessarily don't care for, but just ideas that we come up with, like, man, that'd be really nice, that'd be a cool idea, and then we try to figure out a way to integrate it into our stuff. But yeah, the sold out field and people coming in, all of the great accolades, all the great feedback we had from last year's event was, you know, in year one we had a couple of hiccups during the event, and this year, knock on wood, we've been super clean so far, and that's a testament to our group and the staff here at Cadillac XBC. They were awesome to work with us. Mick and his team have been phenomenal with us this weekend, and really just kind of give us carte blanche, right? I mean, it's a blank check, kind of whatever we want, they're there to help us out and give us what we need. So it gives us the ability to try to put on a really quality event.
We are bowling on today's medium lane condition, much different than obviously the first two, which were short and long respectively. When you decided to kind of put this event on, and it is very similar to some other events out there, Storm U Championships, Elite U Tour Battle Royale, from the 3-pattern 2 days of qualifying perspective. Was that the type of challenge you were hoping or wanted to give not only certainly kids in this area, and then draw other kids and their parents from outside of the Iowa situation?
100%. We're actually representing 10 states this week, which is awesome. I mean, we've got kids from as far away as Michigan. I think that's the farthest we're away is Grand Rapids, Central Michigan, Lansing-ish. But last year when we worked on lane patterns, I mean, I'm not going to say I'm an expert. I'm by no means an expert. I'm pretty much a novice, but we tried to come up with some stuff on our own, and we had a couple of our long pattern last year was brutal. It was so hard. So definitely unintended. I mean, you don't want a house shot, but you don't want to crush souls either. So So we
You
actually
want them to come back.
Right, yeah, exactly. You want to leave that good taste in their mouth, right? So we reached out to John Janowitz at Kegel. He was amazing to work with. I mean, he actually even put it together. He designed the patterns for us, gave him some stuff to test, and actually put together a little tips and tricks video for us too that we were able to send out to our participants ahead of time. So they saw the patterns. They got some tips from JJ for, kind of how to attack the pattern. And I mean, JJ's been doing lane maintenance forever, and I tell you what, the PBA Rookie of the Year, I guess that's probably a pretty good place to start with getting some good tips and tricks.
Yeah, he is one of the best. He was the PBA 50 Rookie of the Year, won the Senior Masters, and that's just the things he's done on the PBA 50 this season alone. Does not even begin to encapsulate his entire career. He's also a great person. So one of the best, certainly. I got a chance to look a little bit at the video, and those are the kind of things that, as an athlete, like that's kind of the priceless type of stuff, right? That's not a part of the entry fee, but that's an added bonus because it's like, oh, well, I get a chance to, take in a little bit of information. It didn't have to be much. It's just enough to give a young athlete an idea of what to expect.
Well, and our field is so diverse. I mean, you go from, one of our competitors this week, Trey Hendricksmeyer, he was just on TV with the PBA LBC. We had, Gianna Brandolino's right in front of us. She's Junior Team USA member. Landon Jordan's on Junior Team USA. His brother's on the developmental team. So we have some very high caliber bowlers. But the flip side to that is we have more than a handful of, this is their first, what I'll call big event, not even multi-pattern. Some of these kids haven't ever seen a sport pattern before. So just those little pieces of information where, Trey might be able to take something from JJ's video, but at the same time, the kid who's never bowled on anything like this walks in having some kind of understanding of what to do, just not being totally blind.
Josh Weems just carried a very nice 7-10. Josh is over there with a Easton Ederbrand, Evan White, Christian Luna. I believe Will Hudson is also in that group on 23 and 24. On 25 and 26, Ashton Weilandich, Molly Bramble. She ended yesterday's, I believe it was a long pattern, yesterday afternoon on a pretty good note.
Yeah, she's actually a high school sophomore, I believe, from down around Muscatine, which is a couple hours from here, but pretty good high school player. She was one of the state finalists for the Iowa high school tournament here, which is actually at Cadillac in February. So, good player.
Byron Christensen, Israel Luna. We were trying to figure out yesterday, right? We watched Christian Luna, and he had a very nice a game on 27-28. He was on a long pattern, and made a ball change, rattled off about 4 or 5 in a row to get to 220. So I went to look at the bio. Thanks to Ann too, by the way, one of your YBSF staff and committee members, for putting that together. But I didn't see Christian's name, but I saw Israel's name. So I'm like, well, maybe he goes by a different name. Well, then finally Israel was in the area. So,
right.
Well, and now, of course, they bowl next to each other today. We've got it all figured out completely.
Yeah, we actually have, I like to pride myself in knowing who a lot of these kids are, and we've got a lot of returners from last year, a lot of them. And some of the kids that we lobbied hard to get last year that just schedule-wise couldn't make it are here with us this year. But we've got a lot of new names, a lot of new faces. Like I say, we've got 10 states represented from Kansas all the way to Michigan here in Waterloo this weekend for a shot at $1,000 top prize across 4 divisions and 4 pretty cool championship belts. And I'd be remiss if I didn't thank a few people for that with, nice shot. Shaker by G there. Rotor Grip on staff to help us out. We've got, I think Schlemmer was in with you yesterday for a while. Yep. So we really appreciate the support we get from them. Everybody who entered this week got a Rotor Grip exotic gem. I don't see that partnership going away anytime soon. So if you're listening and you missed out this year, I'm sure we'll give out another great high-performance bowling ball from Rotor Grip again next year. We had High Five Brands on board. They are a huge sponsor for us from from an apparel standpoint, they're I call them the official apparel sponsor of the YBSF, but they help out. They help our staff out with jerseys. They design stuff for pre-sale. You see a number of main event jerseys from both last year and this year on the lanes today, which is awesome. So really appreciative of them. The Waterloo Visitors and Conventions Bureau is on board with us, so some of the kids got a little frustrated during check-in because, why are you asking me all these questions? Well, because we need to know how many hotel rooms that we supplied, and that helps us helps us fund the over $13,000 in prize fund we're going to give away this weekend. So those are three big ones for us. ADS Recycling is a place that I work for. We're my plug is we're the largest number 2 plastic recycler in all of North America, so we don't throw plastic away. But at the same time, they gave us some money to help out with the championship belts and the awards and those types of things. So all of those little all those sponsors just make a huge deal for us to be able to provide the quality event to hopefully get people to come back and leave that good taste in their mouth to come back and want to perform. I mean, that at the end of the day, that's what any of us do this for. It's to give kids a chance to compete.
Well, I got to be honest with you. So, I was here for the Tour Championship Week, the PWBA Tour in August, and we were treated to a Waterloo Bucks game.
Yeah. Yep.
Which I saw you at.
Yeah. It's actually one of my employers in the summer.
So I got one of these cool, rubber band bracelet type deals from the game.
Yeah.
I haven't taken it off.
A little piece of Waterloo goes home with you all the time.
Waterloo is just here with me all the time. That streak ends for Gianna Brandolino. 4-pin in frame 6. Speaking of, you just mentioned you and Coach Steen have children who bowl competitively. There is your daughter right there, Ainsley.
Yeah, we made a ball change at the end of practice, and if we get the ball to the right spot, it's still okay. But and I'm gonna give Ainsley a little bit of grace, and I did this last year, and she got frustrated with me too. But she's been super busy with school as far as she's a high school junior. She's taking some AP stuff, and she's on National Honor Society, which, not to toot her horn, but takes up a lot of time from volunteer perspective and stuff. She hadn't bowled a lot. I mean, high school season will start here shortly, so that'll kind of force her into the center a little bit more. Not that she doesn't want to be there, but just time commitments. Right? Nice conversion. But no, like I say, it's we bowl a lot of stuff. We see a lot of things and take a lot of ideas to bring them here. And the kind of the mantra of our group is we talk about the value added experience. What little things can we do? A great example is sometimes you go to a tournament and you get letters on the scoreboard. I mean, when you walk in as a spectator, you have no idea who's what until you watch 4 or 5 shots go down the lane. You can walk in today and, Gianna's on lane 28. You can find them right away and see those things. The center having lane talk, that's a big deal. If mom or dad or grandma or grandpa couldn't come, between bowl stream, between lane talk, you can kind of get an idea what's going on in the center. We use Bowl Metrics. That's our official scoring platform. So I like to think that we're one of the fastest tournaments to update scores online. We try to ask our competitors and spectators to keep score sheets where we can get to them right away, and that's another value add. I don't want to have to wait until the end of the next game to see a score when in reality you can have them in a couple of frames. So those are the little things you can keep up, and it's live, and it's good for the athlete. If they want to know where they're at and they want to have that technology in front of them, they can see and know what's going on.
Live scoring is beneficial to any live streamer as well, because if we're not in the situation, for example, I work with Bowl TV. The operation there is pretty vast in regards to how many lanes might be covered. My operation with Bowl Stream TV is one of a small business until we get to that point. But so, I can't cover as many lanes, but with the advent of live scoring, essentially we can still cover all of them.
Sure.
Because I can then direct the viewer to say, hey, once your son, daughter, grandparent, or grandson, granddaughter leaves the viewing area, you can still follow them in their progress throughout the day, which is fantastic. And Bowl Metrics has changed the game on scoring and standings and results. They've got something that's great there.
Yeah, and honestly, Ted Fossum at Bowl Metrics is fantastic to work with. He is. You want to talk about trying to make things easy for a tournament director or a tournament staff. We actually, I mean, we ran the formatting is the same from last year to this year. We asked Ted, hey, would you mind getting on a Zoom call with us for just a couple of minutes, just look through some things? He spent an hour with us. I mean, just here, try this. This will make this easier. This will, you can save this for future. Just a fantastic guy to work for or work with, partner with. He's definitely not in it to be a huge monetary compensation. It's definitely for, like so many of us are in for the love of the game, the love of the sport, the future, whatever. I can't remember the USBC mantra. The future for the sport. Yes. But that's really what it is. That's really what it is. It's just providing opportunity for kids to compete, and that's part of what the YBSF is in its whole existence. We started this in 2020 to mirror a program out of Sun Prairie, Wisconsin. They were giving away $20,000 to youth league kids just for bowling league. You don't have to be a tournament bowler to earn scholarships in the Greater Cedar Valley here around Waterloo. You can bowl youth league, and in 3 years we've given away over $32,000 to kids just for bowling youth league. Whether it's clean game, whether it's high game, whether it's pins over average, just showing up. We give points away for perfect attendance. You don't have to be a stellar bowler. You just have to compete against yourself and come every week. And like I say, $32,000 over 3 years it takes a lot of hustle. It takes a lot of energy. But a portion of the entry fee from this event goes straight to that foundation too, along with the raffle prizes and things that were donated for us and have been purchased. That's a nice conversion on the 210 by Evan White. But like I say, and honestly, reach out to us on Facebook if you have any questions. We'd love to share the model and give people ideas if they want to try to take something like this at home. We certainly don't want to monopolize it by any shape of the imagination. We want kids to have opportunities to have a little bit extra money when they go to college. It's a big deal. So,
in the booth with Matthew McConaughey, part of the Youth Bowling Scholarship Foundation staff. That group puts together this wonderful Midwest Youth main event, one that Gianna Brandolino has eyes on taking home a title today. She's got 7 out of 8 here on 27 and 28, this medium pattern. One thing that has been looks to be the same across each pattern, and I think just from talking to various people and watching bowling here from Cadillac over the course of a couple months, getting it right early and trying to figure out if your ball is going to recover doesn't seem like a very good idea across each pattern. So there's like an OB you got to figure out and say, hey, my ball cannot get right or left of this. It could be for some 5, 6-ish for some, depending on your rev rate and ball speed. Medium pattern typically does produce any medium pattern. Could be a couple strikes. A lot of styles typically are in play. You talk about medium lane conditions as well. We could see a variety of different things happen. There's a lot of close races in these standings too. All 4 divisions making the top 4 for the Stepladder finals this afternoon.
that's kind of a product of this house though too, and you were here and saw a lot of balls go down the lane during championship week, but the two ends, the high end is a newer lane bed surface by a handful of years, but the two ends, and that's honestly some of the comments we heard yesterday from some of the competitors was it felt like the high end was just night and day different from the low end, and that has a lot to do with topography. It really does. I mean, the lane crew here at Cadillac, we're blessed to have two of the best lane guys in the Midwest. I'll stand up to them as long as the day is, because they care. They're not just here punching clocks. They're in here working, trying to make sure everything's tip-top shape, just like it should be, and they do an excellent job of that. But the two ends of the house, they do play very, very different. You know, a lot of the open play is down on the low end, and a lot of the league action is on the high end. It's just kind of how it works. But and I'll tell you what, if Gianna can do kind of what she's doing now for 4 games, she's going to whack them just like Abby did yesterday afternoon. Just kind of trap it out in front of her.
Just like that.
Just
for
like that.
Gianna.
Right on cue. Thanks, G. So yeah, now that shot from Ainsley, if that ball is 7-8 down lane, that's probably okay. You hit the rangefinder and you're going to be in the face.
JT Growth has had a nice split conversion a couple of frames back as well. There were a lot of players who started with some good momentum, and we've got to the middle of some of these games and now near the end. They've run into some trouble, whether it be splits or missed spares. Shot there from Israel Luna next door.
Well, in the long yesterday, I'm not going to say we trapped people to have to play them one way, but everybody kind of migrated to the same part of the lane, and they broke down, and the scores reflected that at least the top end of the scores reflected that. The medium, you're going to have a lot of different varying styles trying to get to the pocket different ways, and it'll be interesting to see how the scoring pace kind of goes through. You know, we're seeing kind of the first transition now after practice, and now almost the end of game one. You know, what happens with that second one toward the middle end of game three? Where do people end up? How deep are we? You know, those kinds of things.
Israel shoots 184. Christian to the left there, big double. He can get into the two teens. Is there, aside from your own daughter, is there anyone or any young athlete here that you either saw before, so it wasn't your first time seeing them, that either you said immediately, wow, they've improved, or they've gotten better, I've noticed this, or someone that you hadn't seen before also, and they just kind of came out and impressed you in this first day and a half or so?
So as far as who I've never seen Sophia DeLucia in person. I've seen all kinds of her on the internet, but I've never seen her in person. I got to talk to her dad for a little while yesterday for the first time, and a great family first and foremost. But man, for a lefty, when she gets it, and it's really good. One that I hadn't really seen her since junior gold, was Ashlyn Tevis. She's a lefty out of the Rockford area, and I watched her bowl a little bit of U15 championships, USA Bowling, and she bowled well. But I mean, I think she's working with Will Clark now more, and she is super, super impressive. I really enjoy watching her. The other thing is the boys. Like, you get that U15 boys division, and there are some kids that there's two boys from Des Moines that they walked in with their parents, and I honestly God didn't recognize them. Like, I hadn't seen them since you know, probably May, maybe June, and like 4 or 5 inches, and their voice dropped 3 or 4 octaves. I mean, it just like, who are these young men that you brought in, you know, this weekend? So it's always cool as you see kids year over year to you know, see the changes in people like that, in kids. And we've got the leaderboards. I know you were kind of talking about scores a little bit, but just our leaders overall. I mean, if things keep up, hey, there's a good shot. We got the ball right. Sorry. If things keep up, we're gonna have some great finals, and it's gonna be some races for maybe not so much who's gonna make the show, but it's gonna be, you know, kind of where the seedings are. And that U15 boys, I mean, there's a ton of shots left for the top 4 in that group. I mean, there's 6 or 7 going after 4 spots, and the U15 boys, it's kind of 4 for 4 unless somebody really gets hot down lane. But I was trying to keep up on bowl metrics a little bit. The U15 girls, I want to talk about them real quick before I jump out. We tried to support that division last year. We only ended up with 4 or 5 bowlers last year in that division, so we still awarded a scholarship. We still awarded a championship belt, all those things, in a hope that we'd be able to provide that division this year. Well, we ended up with 10 kids. We had 10 kids, so we decided that we were going to run the division. We're going to pay the $1,000 guarantee. We're going to do those things. So we're going to pay 4 bowlers out of 10 in that U15 girls division, just in hopes of continuing to build it, because U15 girls divisions are so hard to fill. I don't know why, but they just don't seem to travel as much as some of the other divisions. So really just trying to track down more U15 kids. So if you're the parents of U15 girls, or you have them in your area, you have them around, we would love to have them here next year. I mean, it's by far the best ratio that you're going to find pretty well anywhere in the country, paying 4 spots out of 10 this time. So we're committed to the division. Hopefully we can get, a bigger division next year in those U15 girls.
.278 for Gianna Brandolino out the gates. Yeah, Abby went plus 200, or it was 200 or better. I don't have the exact number. I think it was 215.
215. Yeah, low game of 220, average 243. I just looked at it this morning.
So, and that was on long, and G already started with 278 this morning on medium. Certainly 2 of the best in the country.
Yeah,
a couple of 270 games too.
Yeah, in the country, not just here, like in the country. So we kind of joke a little bit. We bowl some of the EYTs in Chicago, and I'm like, you go to an EYT, and it's literally like going to Junior Gold every month, because the kids that win Junior Gold are at those events every time you show up. So that's a testament to Deandra too. I mean, she puts on a great tour, a great series over there, and is really supportive of providing opportunities and a lot of the social aspects that they do to manage. Helping some folks out, some other nonprofits and things like that. It's a, real tremendous outreach that they have in those groups, and that's something we would love to try to get to a point here. I mean, we're not there yet, but we're trying. We're still pretty young. We do a small Junior Gold series. We're actually up to 6 events this year that we'll operate and give away Junior Gold spots over the course of now until the end of April. Here at Cadillac, we qualified 48 kids out of our series last year for Junior Gold, which is pretty cool. And really, that's just one more thing from the YBSF is to grow the sport. And this is a portion of it to where our local kids can see what's available to them. It's an opportunity for them. If I'm going to buy a new bowling ball anyway, why don't I go practice again? Go practice and compete in one of these big events and kind of see what bowling is and what it is outside of league. City tournament, state tournament. There's this whole other realm of competitive bowling that isn't have a soda, get your cheese balls, and go bowl league on Saturday morning. You know what I mean? There's actually a sport to this too, not just the recreational side. So like I say, do it because we love kids and give them an opportunity to see what's out there. And collegiate bowling blowing up and being such a highly growing sport, I guess is probably the best way to put it. Just so many opportunities for kids to further their education, still be competitive, and heck, maybe even get a little bit of money from schools to go do it. I don't know anybody I personally don't know anybody that'll just write a check for college. It doesn't happen. It's too expensive.
Which is something that you are also, involved in, not at the collegiate level from an administrative perspective, but your daughter is in the possibilities of furthering her education and bowling. Very much so. And we kind of talked about it at dinner a little bit last night. I call it the alphabet soup of college bowling. Convoluted is not the right word, but it's very confusing and tough to kind of get your arms around how it works and all the different divisions and things. And I know you're going to have a couple of the college coaches we have here. We have Wartburg College, which is a Division III school in Waverly, here with some folks, brand new head coaches to their program. So I'm excited to see what happens with their group. We've got a really good community college here, Hawkeye Community College. Roger Taylor was here with us this weekend. And then a brand new program in Canton, Illinois with Spoon River College, and Kenny Shaughnessy is the new head coach there. He's going to start in 2024. So they all represented here, but just even to get some information from those guys, it's just, to understand how all the pieces go together. It's a big puzzle, but it doesn't seem like there's any pictures on it. You're just kind of putting it together blind, Well, you're right. I mean, it's a lot of info. It can be overwhelming. And I feel like just, with our conversations, it sounds like you've talked to the right people. Ainsley has been given some nice tips.
Absolutely.
Of info as well. from various players, which is always good because players help players.
Yep.
You learn some things that you may not have known, or vice versa, and obviously parents help parents in that regard as well. Speaking of Ainsley, I know she's moving, and I know you want to take a look and see how she's going to start this game. So I appreciate you popping in and giving the people a little bit of background on this wonderful event.
Nope, absolutely. And Emil, again, thank you very much for coming and putting a professional feel on our event. Like I say, when you get the voice of the pros to come and and put on your production, it's just another great feel. So thank you again for all of your energy, all of your effort. You do yeoman's work, and I'm sure you don't make near enough money, but there again, it's more for the more for the love, I hope. Even if your wife and boys, they probably miss you too. So you got to do it for all the right reasons. So like I say, appreciate you coming out to help us out this weekend. And like I say, any information on YBSF, be sure to reach out to us on Facebook, and we're happy to share whatever information we can help with and provide and share and do whatever we can. So,
thank you, sir.
Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate it.
That is Matthew McConaughey, ladies and gentlemen. Wonderful individual, and he does not drive a Lincoln, from what I understand. Maybe we can get him a Nissan sponsorship. We'll talk to the real Matthew McConaughey. We'll figure out what we can do, whether it's Lincoln, Nissan. We got to get this Matthew McConaughey taken care of. Good man, great family, and again, wonderful committee in regards to the YBSF. We talked about the college bowling. We're going to talk about that a little bit more coming up next. Roger Taylor is going to join us here in a minute from Hawkeye Community College. And then we talked to Brandon Runk yesterday. He's the assistant coach at Wartburg College. We're going to talk to the head coach, his wife, Alexis Runk, coming up in Game 3. So we should have Roger here in a moment after we get you underway with game number 2 via competition in front of us. On 27 and 28, there's Tyler Reeves. Speaking of Wartburg, Tyler is actually a freshman. He's able to compete here in this U18 boys division. He's in this group with Caleb Sorensen. Sarah Lagu is also on this pair. Dalton Armstrong, Alexis Hyde, Evan White, Wiedebrand. We saw a little bit of a 29 and 30s group. They were on 23 and 24. Got a nice viewership growing, folks. Would love to hear from you this morning as well. Do us a favor, though, and do the YBSF a favor, if you could. Do a couple of things. One, if you could like or hit the thumbs up on this video. That would be appreciated for them, so we can get this circulated to a little bit of a wider audience so people can know all about the Midwest Youth Main Event. Subscribe to Boldstream TV if you have not already via YouTube. We've got a couple more events, well, specifically one, or two, I should say, in the month of October. $10,000 event coming up in Phoenix, the Agent Ong Open. That'll be October 19th through the 22nd. That will be streamed live on Boldstream TV. And then I'll be back at the Elite Youth Tour which always streams on the Elite Youth Tour Facebook page, but of course courtesy of Bullstream TV. So we appreciate that. And then go to Facebook, certainly, and like and or follow the YBSF Facebook page. Get all of the recent news announcements, all of the photos that have been taken of award winners so far here in the tournament. All of that wonderful information is provided on the Youth Bowling Scholarship Foundation Facebook page. We appreciate that. And then finally, let me know where you're watching this morning and who you're rooting for. We'd love to have you. College bowling has been the talk as we ended our convo with Matthew about that. That's where we left off, essentially, knowing and prefaced by saying that we would have a couple of collegiate coaches in the building with us here on Bullstream TV. We had one yesterday, and we have another here, as I mentioned. Mr. Roger Taylor has joined us from Hawkeye Community College, and that is a national championship winning program, ladies and gentlemen. Roger, first of all, thank you for joining me, and how are you this morning?
Doing pretty good. Thank you for having me.
I know you do a lot of, or travel to a lot of events like this, whether it's Junior Gold or other youth tournaments where you have the opportunity to kind of present Hawkeye Community College kind of to the masses, to the student athletes, and certainly to the parents. What's it like to be able to kind of do it in your backyard?
Makes it very easy, and I definitely enjoy sleeping in my own bed, being able to do that. But I've known Brandon for a long time, and since working at Hawkeye and moving back to the area, getting to know Matthew and his family and some of the other individuals involved with the YBSF. I've known Angie for a long time and her family back when my family used to live in this area when I was in high school. So just kind of getting back to that and getting to know some new faces, reconnecting with some old ones, and it's definitely this area and Waterloo between here and Maple is definitely a community. They take care of their bowlers around here. And what they're trying to build with the YBSF, just giving all these kids multiple opportunities to bowl on sport, earn scholarships, and just improve their overall bowling experience is definitely something to be proud of and wanting to be a part of, traveling around, seeing the talent that they've been able to attract. Been pretty fascinating to see.
Have you been able to attract any talent yet?
Yeah, I would say we have some pretty good talent in this year. Has some local kids from the area, bowl a lot of tournaments. They've bowled pretty well. We have one of our returners from Tripoli, which is about 30-40 minutes away from here. Actually, with Tyler Reeves right in front of us, he's also from that area, and he's bowling for Wartburg. But Lauren Funk, she was a sophomore this year. She finished second at our nationals last year and earned All-American status with that. So she's going to be one of our top performers as one of our returners. We have a freshman this year from Australia, Chloe Marks. I know she's quite the competitor in her home country, traveling around, and definitely she can throw the ball, and she has some big aspirations for after college.
Yes, she does. I got a chance to meet her a couple months ago during the Tour Championship Week, PWBA.
She
Might
definitely
be out there one day.
Yeah, she definitely enjoyed herself. And I know when I first met her and talked to her via Zoom, that was one thing that she brought up, is like her ultimate dream is to go out on the women's tour.
Nice split from Micah Jensen. Made a nice split yesterday too. Split conversions have been, I would say, relatively plentiful for a lot of our young athletes here. I want you to put your coach's hat on for a moment, if you don't mind.
All right.
And I'm going to ask you to look at the screen a little bit. And let's see who's bowling first. All right, Anthony Swanson's on the right. I think. Is he? Yes, he is. So, here's our medium pattern. That's what they're, actually that's not the medium.
Yeah, that's the long
That's
pattern.
the long pattern. Hold on a second. But you know where I'm going with this. I want your breakdown of where you think players should be playing, or, you know, if you had to coach or you were coaching, what would be your recommendations in that regard? There we go. 40 feet, 26.55 mils, as Allison Roberts leaves 4-pin. What stands out to you there?
I would say it's relatively flat, 2.41, 40 feet, medium patterns. I know they tend to be pretty open to multiple angles, and definitely seeing a lot of kids playing different angles. So I would say it just mostly depends on their style of play. Are they slower speed, faster speed, two-handed, higher rev, not so many revs? So maybe the more rev challenged players can probably get away with playing a little more straight up the lane, and the more rev dominant ones will be a little inside, shaping a little bit more. From what I've seen so far, even watching the practice session on Friday, all three patterns do seem fairly speed sensitive. So there have been plenty of times where seen the ball just skate through the break point and not make it to the head pin. So as long as you can match up with the right ball, right speed, I think they can score pretty well on this one.
One player that has impressed me this weekend has been Rhett Ryman. I feel like I'd seen him before somewhere, but, you know, when you watch a few players, especially up close in person for multiple games, and you certainly know this as a coach, you know, the repetition and sometimes the memory that they leave in your brain, it's like, wow, you know, that player can be a very special player. Rhett has been one of those players for me this week. As you've kind of taken a look at the vast field here that we have, which many talented players. I know you've had some conversations, hopefully with, you know, parents and maybe some prospective student athletes.
Yep.
For you, you know, what are you kind of talking about in regards to Hawkeye? How can one be excited about the potential possibilities if they get an opportunity to go to Hawkeye with you?
So I'd say the biggest selling point for us is if you wanted to go for trades, engineering, anything in that regard towards technology and that route, that's how Hawkeye started. They started off as a tech school, so a lot of those trades, electrical, mechanical, engineering, anything in that regard is what they're known for. And then in the early to mid 90s is when they transitioned over to a full community college, offered way more other programs, dental hygiene, nursing, business, ag sciences, that's another big one that draws kids in. We have a farm on campus. Police science, fire safety. You want to go to school to be an EMT, a lot of things like that we can find a fit and cater for. There are a few little things that unfortunately we don't offer, like we don't have music. We have some music classes, it's just not a full-fledged program. I know a lot of kids want to go in for sports management, or the only thing sports related is we have a sports marketing class that's part of the business management program or a marketing degree. So sports specific on the business side, unfortunately we don't really have. We have exercise science, so if they wanted to be, or physical therapy, anything like that, they can do through us. And the thing that I feel like there's a stereotype with the two-year school, and I've had conversations with other two-year coaches. It's just a stigma that we have to shake off, that just because we're a two-year, essentially a discounted school or discounted education, that you get a discounted experience, and that's not necessarily the case. Between myself and my assistant, we have multiple years of college bowling, whether as players. I know he played for a briefer stint than I did. I played for Mount Mercy when I was in school, and then I had a little stint as kind of a volunteer coach before I became a player, and then kind of a fill-in a little bit after I graduated, helping Andy out, Andy Dirks over there at Mount Mercy, and certain occasions before kind of finding my own fit up here at Hawkeye. And then I've coached for high school for a lot of years. So I've seen a lot of the different sides of it. I try to relate to the kids. I know what you're going to experience. I had to do that, working full-time and going to class full-time, being a full-time athlete. We had workouts, we had practices we all had to go to, and it was just managing your time. I feel like we can relate. We have a lot of support from the community. We have support from the school.
This is your practice center too, right?
Yep, this is our practice center. We have Specto, which, now that I say that, I wonder if any of the local bowlers have tried the Specto on the last 6 lanes.
Is it active right now? I could go to Specto and maybe look at check out some of these numbers.
Yeah, I could probably pull it up. Normally, if it's on, there's a little green light that you can see, but I can't see it from here.
I can see a light. I just don't know if it's part of the lights on the gutter caps.
Yeah, we have a torch that we use, and a lot of other tools that we've really tried to incorporate into our practices, more so this year. So we're really trying to give them the best of the experience that they can in a short period of time coming to a 2-year. And it's if you're not sure what you want to go to school for, then honestly the best way to go would be a 2-year, because you save yourself money experimenting on what you might want to go to school for. You can dabble in a bunch of different things to find your fit while you're getting the gen eds, and maybe even take some prerequisite classes to transfer out to a bigger 4-year. I know the school their mission essentially is to help kids build and move on to the next step, and that's kind of how we look at it too with the bowling. Is you're there for the education to where you can get set up for the next stage of your academic career. And we want to help you with that with your bowling career too. Our unique position is we're not just talking to parents and students, we're also talking to other coaches who reach out to us. It's like, hey, I'm interested in one of your bowlers. Would they be interested in coming to bowl for me? I have to put them in the transfer portal, make sure that they're able to talk to those coaches, and then kind of get them together and kind of go from there. And I know right now we have a couple players that are bowling right now for Culver Stockton up in Milwaukee right now. There's some other ones that we've had over the last couple years that have moved on and bowled other places, and I know there's a good mixture of kids that we can get, or that we get, being kind of a smaller school and the community that we're in, with a lot of, like with those trades and ag programs and stuff, we tend to get a lot of those smaller town kids that could get often overlooked and won't decide to go that route and then go into the workforce right afterwards, which is kind of another thing that a lot of kids would do. Is, you can go for an HVAC program, which is
That's heavy right there. It's a good program.
Yep.
My father-in-law owns his own HVAC business, and one of my best friends also got into HVAC and is doing some things on his own as well. So that's a really good program to get involved in.
Yeah, I was just talking to a kid. It was either yesterday or Friday, and he's thinking about spending his 2 years with us, going his first year going for HVAC, and then the next year going for to be an electrician or getting his electrician certificate. Because most of those trade programs do happen to be a year, so you can double up with them or take some other classes to make it out for that second year. Because we've had it in the past where we've had kids take the HVAC, be done in there the year that the program is, and then take some liberal arts classes for their second year so they can bowl. Because they're only allowed 2 years with us, and then they almost have to transfer out to a bigger school. And one thing I've come to know over for this year is that you can't go backwards. And like for myself, so technically I still have a little bit of eligibility left. I can't go back and bowl for Hawkeye myself if I wanted to.
Because you already went to a 4-year?
Right.
Okay.
Yep. I already had my first 2 years bowling for a school, and I just can't go backwards and go back to a 2-year to bowl. That's kind of the one weird NJCAA rule type thing, and kind of goes along with some of the conversations that we were having last night at dinner.
We had a really good dinner conversation too, folks, because Matthew referenced dinner conversations last night as well. And college bowling was a nice topic of discussion in a great way.
Yeah. I do agree though. It's something new always seems to come up, and always kind of learning.
Wow. Micah Jensen.
Oh, Micah's a spare machine today.
The split conversion machine. What was that? 2, 4, 6, 7?
Yeah.
That's me?
Yep. He left. I saw him leave the 1-4-7-10 yesterday.
Did he make it?
No, he didn't, unfortunately. I was really hoping he did, because it's one of those weird spares that I really wanted to see made.
In the booth with Roger Taylor. Are you a junior?
I am.
Okay. I couldn't remember that, so I didn't type it.
Oh, it's okay.
Just because I couldn't remember it.
Yeah.
But okay, so now that I know for sure, I'm typing it. Boom.
Yep, my dad's pretty well known in bowling world too. Took a little bit of time away from bowling and just got back into it.
Well, looking at the way this game 2 has opened up here. Again, very similar to almost game 1, but in the reverse. There's been a lot of players who've had some early struggles and have figured out a way to potentially save a game. Micah Jensen gets a good break. You know, look at his middle portion of this game, right? The 4-bagger, but bookended by 2 big split conversions. And he still has 230 plus alive this game. Swanson bouncing.
Nope.
Anthony started double, missed a 10 pin, and he had a split. Another double, then 7-10. This medium pattern is, I guess like medium patterns can be looking a little tricky.
Also seeing more kids throw more of a backup at spares or even a strike shot sometimes.
That like what's your thought process on that from a coaching perspective?
I mean, I'm not opposed to it as long as they can do it consistently. And I know it's becoming more of a thing, especially since the kids watch guys like Anthony Simonson, and I know he's been doing.
Right.
I mean, he's won a title throwing a backup ball.
Yeah.
So I know it's becoming more of a norm. But then we also have used it in the past as a drill, kind of way to train the release a little bit. Because I mean, to throw a backup ball, you have to be in that certain position that you want to be in for throwing it the regular way, to get under it, inside, and to get around it, to get those revolutions that everyone wants. I would say that's one thing that I did pick up from Andy while I was at Mount Mercy. We have done some backup drills before.
Big shot there for Swanson. Trying to save here, 191. Lucas Clark. Fun getting the chance to get to know his father a little bit. Dennis. Ashlyn Tevis struggling a little bit, the talented lefty. Looking across the board and figure out what's going to move the needle in regards to this medium pattern. It's proven to be a little bit tricky.
I didn't really see what the speed was compared to Anthony's strike versus that split, but just didn't look like that one shaped up enough at the end to get to the pocket.
Alexander Huntley had a very nice, I believe 247, I want to recall. And he's got a 4-bagger right now on 23 and 24.
He's a local bowler. His stepdad is one of the local high school coaches here too for Waterloo East.
Good one there for Allison Roberts, and there's Huntley again, makes it 5 in a row. It's a good shot from a couple of southpaws there in that pair. That group, they get to cross with each other.
Kylie Kirchner up right now on 24. She's from Vinton.
Nice shot.
Vinton's not too far from here. And actually, we have a player that from her hometown bowling for us this year too. Well, she's going into her second year, but from the same high school program as her. And her dad is their coach. He's back here. Been talking to him a fair amount out here today, or this weekend. lot of local bowlers on that pair. Keegan Steinbrück from the Des Moines area. He bowls a lot of tournaments. Bryce Bergman on 23s from Tripola, or the Sumner area. Evan White's over from Council Bluffs. He's going to be on lane 30.
That's that final shot there from Zane Shockensee, 173. His dad Kenny starting the program, I believe at Spoon River?
Spoon River. I didn't really know about that that school until this weekend when I saw all of the YBSF posts leading up to this. So this must be a recruiting year for him to build up for next year. So I guess starting next year I'll be seeing more of him.
Oh, wow. Uh-oh. Gotta hold that spare.
Oh.
What pin was that?
That was a 2-pin that slid over into the floor, or in front of the floor.
So while we wait for that respot, let's go over to 27 through. Oh, we're waiting for the respot. We were on 27 through 30, excuse me.
I saw Joss coming down this way. I thought he was going to be bowling over here.
Who?
Joss Weems.
He was making his way. He started here and was going left to right. So he's probably about to make the turn either. He might be on the low end or the high end, the end pair for game 3.
I haven't talked to him or his mom a whole lot. But, I mean, I feel bad, and condolences to him and his family for the loss of his dad. That was pretty surprising, to say the least. And it was weird because I talked to Jerry like 3 or 4 days before Brandon shared the news with me that he passed. So we were working out for him to come out with his Apex.
Yep.
To come out to Hawkeye. Work with our players and work with our athletic department plus our team. And unfortunately, when I got the news, I was pretty shocked.
We all were. Still am. Lucas finishes that up. Alex gets to 226. Tevis can try to stay 171 with 3 in the 10th. That's got to hook a lot. Yeah, just this pattern is being a little tricky. Again, with the house characteristics.
David Best here on 28. He's been bowling pretty good this weekend, I think, too.
He has. And in fact, the last time, look at the bowl metric standings here. He was in 5th or 6th place after yesterday. And as of right now, he is 6th at +5. So he is 70 pins back of 4th, which would get you to the Stepladder finals.
It's very, very doable to make up those pins. Of course, I compliment how good he's been bowling, then I black cat him and he split. I saw him bowl youth grader Iowa tournament a couple weekends ago, and he did pretty good at that too. Not sure where he's from though, but he throws it pretty good.
I feel that. Check. I thought I had some info on Davis there. He is from Overland Park, Kansas. Nice job there by Bryce. He's got a couple more. And we'll continue on with our college bowling coaches roundtable, essentially. A chance to talk to Alexis Rock. I'm excited to get Kenny in here at some point as well. Any final thoughts before we let you go? Anything that the people should know about Hawkeye, and where to find your contact info if they're interested?
Any information regarding the school, we can go to hawkeyecollege.edu. My email is roger.taylor@hawkeyecollege.edu. If anyone has any questions about anything regarding college bowling, I'll be happy to answer anything. And we can set up visits. Anything we can work out. I'm more than happy to help. We do, one last thing I didn't mention before is that another thing, we do offer scholarships. That's another thing. We do have scholarships available to certain kids who I guess more or less will qualify, in the sense that we're limited to the number we have, just with, or that we're allowed to hand out with the NJCA rules. So based on what our budget is for scholarships and how many that we have to hand out, we try to go off of the criteria with coachability, attitude, how well you do in class, things like that. What kind of tournaments do you go bowl? Do you bowl things like this? You really challenge yourself. A lot of little things that we look at, we try to build the team around.
Well, Mr. Taylor, I appreciate your time, and I know we will see one another very, very soon again. You're staying, I'm sure, the entire time today? Probably,
I'll
right?
be here all day. Yep.
All right. Don't forget, Roger Taylor Jr., Hawkeye Community College. It's a national championship rhythm program, folks, so you should definitely check them out if you know a young athlete who is looking to bowl collegiately. Good luck, my friend, and hopefully you have some more good conversations today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Always a pleasure. All right, that is Roger Taylor Jr. And then we will speak next with Wartburg. this is like a real show today, folks. I mean, we literally had everybody just lined up for you today, which is great, which is good. And I already had some pre-scheduled interviews, if you will. And so the next one is here. And we prefaced her by saying that we talked to an assistant coach of hers yesterday, but today we're going to talk to the head coach. And she is Alexis Runk, the head coach of Wartburg College in Waverly, Iowa, not too far from where we are right now. Alexis, how are you first and foremost?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Brandon kind of ran down just how fast everything kind of happened when you took the job, and you got to move and all of those things that go with that. But now that you've had a month or so and some change to kind of get settled and really kind of get into the role a little bit, even though you haven't coached your first event, which is next week, how's things been now that you are kind of the official head coach of a collegiate program?
It's going well. Definitely a lot of background things that go to a coaching job that I necessarily wasn't aware about going into my first year of coaching. But working through them, I have a lot of great help. A lot of good friends who are collegiate coaches. I have good contacts. Roger, who you just talked to, has been an extreme help to me. And then getting in the facility that Wartburg has invested in our town has been a great help as well. It helps not have to travel 30 minutes, to practice. Helps our, commute. So it's going well. A little nervous, for the first tournament, naturally. But we have a great group of kids, and I'm super excited for what's ahead.
Is there anything that's been everything could be surprising to a degree when you first start out in something, but is there anything that you weren't expecting, but in a good way? Like you said, oh wow, this is great. I didn't expect this to be a part of what's going to ultimately be hopefully a successful program.
That's a good question. Well, a funny one is like uniforms. I wasn't expecting it to be as stressful. Ordering uniforms and making sure they fit. You'd think it'd be a super simple process. It is not. But, other than that, I wasn't expecting it to be as easy to connect with the kids,
Okay.
Especially this generation. I think they're a little bit more headstrong. So I was a little nervous about being able to connect with them, but it's only been a month, and I feel like we already have some really great trust in each other and good communication. So that's definitely a positive.
Well, I asked every player or every person that we've had in here so far. So I'm gonna get your thoughts on what we're bowling on today, and especially as a coach. So I'll throw this medium pattern up on the screen. It's 40 feet. With 26.55 mils. So if you saw this, in fact, you have a player bowling.
Yes.
Tyler Reeves is bowling. But you put your coach's hat on, you look at this, and you've got to bowl a tournament. You've got to coach a couple teams. When you see this, what would be the first things you'd be talking about regarding lane play and strategy?
Yeah, so definitely in practice for, my strategy at least would use a ball with a little bit of surface to the right to create some friction, because outside of 10 here isn't the friendliest. It's definitely a track dominant center for sure. This pattern forces you to give it away a little bit, like 11, 12 to 8, 9. I've seen a lot of people attack it with urethane. That's pretty typical in the men's world nowadays. Try to go up the shim line instead of around it. We had Tyler go to urethane, just to keep it in the pocket, because he was having some trouble seeing the right shape from in. But characteristics of this center is so high friction, and there's so much early hook here. Like when we bowled the PWBA stop, I don't think we've ever bowled a stop where a surface pad wasn't used. Like I'm telling you, every ball in the arsenal, from biggest ball, to cleanest ball, was smacked with polish. Like it was crazy. I've never seen anything like that before. So just knowing the center, I probably, after practice, I would go to a symmetrical solid that I hit with a bunch of polish to go around to get it through the fronts, but still get it to read the mid lane would be, my angle of attack, and then just keep migrating left here, because the further left you get here, the easier it gets.
Now you have Well, I don't know this for sure, so I'll ask. Do you have both a men's and women's program?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, great. And then from that vantage point, have you guys decided on which coach will kind of be with which team all the time? Will you rotate? What do you think about that situation?
Yeah, so we're starting off the season. Brandon's going to take over the men's,
Okay.
and I'm coaching the women's at practice. We're both there, for both teams, so we can create a bond there, But we're going to start out the season. He's with the men, I'm with the women, especially since they all compete at the same time. There's only one tournament, the Vegas Tier 1, where they compete at different times, so we'll both be, there for both teams. But I did talk to my team that we could definitely reevaluate depending on how they're feeling, with how it's going, and yeah, we might change it up. We'll see. Depends how it goes. It's our first time coaching collegiately. We thought it made sense, to assign it that way based off the, initial couple of weeks that
Sure.
we've had with the kids.
I feel that you were just an All-American in college at Delaware State, and here you are now coaching.
I know, it was a pretty quick transition. In 2020, I graduated, so, I feel like I'm just out of college, but then I look back and I'm getting old.
Well, I'm sure there's people watching who would say, Alexis, please, myself included, for that matter. Alexis Runk is joining us, folks, in the booth here. She is head coach at Wartburg College. Give us a little info about Wartburg. So when and hopefully you are having some nice conversations so far this week while you've been here. If I'm a parent or a student athlete or prospective student athlete in Wartburg, I see your table and I come up to the table and I introduce myself, and you introduce yourself, and then what can I learn or what should I be learning about Wartburg?
Yeah, so if I usually start the academic side of things, because you are
idea.
a student athlete at the end of the
Great
day,
idea.
and school, has always been something that's super important to me as well. So we do have a very family-like environment at Wartburg. It is actually a 13-to-1 teacher-to-student ratio, which is
Wow.
amazing to me. I understand different types of learning. I like the bigger classroom setting personally, but I think the majority of students do enjoy that one-on-one environment. You get to really, have a lot of your teacher's attention if you need it. We have actually athletic academic advisors as well, which is a great resource, because the athletes are, traveling, and sometimes it's a little harder to keep up on your academics. Like I said, academics are super important to me. So, as a team aspect, we have a study session, at our tournaments, every day, at the end, because, like I said, you are a student first, and then transitioning to we do have a lot of majors as well. There's so many, I can't even keep track of them. I know we have a great pre-med program,
Nice.
And nursing program, engineering, which is my thing, so that's pretty awesome. And yeah, something special about Wartburg as well is we actually have a music therapy major, which is pretty rare. I know a lot of schools are adapting it, but I know at least in our radius around here, it is one of the only schools that offer that. Athletic, my athletic spiel is that we have a new facility that our university invested in. It's a small center that actually closed due to COVID, unfortunately, in 2020. And Zach reopened it. The university helped him do that. They actually purchased an oil machine for the team, so we're able to, utilize patterns.
Nice job, Savannah Portillo.
Okay.
A lot of washout and split conversions today for a lot of players. Keep going.
Yeah, and that we're signed with Brunswick. We use Vice and EFX Apparel, so we're really grateful for our sponsors. Something Brandon and I think is really important nowadays is to have, a strong arsenal, because not necessarily does the best bowler always win. It's who has the right piece. So we also drill our own equipment, which is pretty awesome. Hopefully in the future we'll be able to invest a little bit more into that. But yeah, so.
You're drilling this up?
Yeah, we are drilling. We have the
Nice.
pro shop at Maple Lanes, Fran's Pro Shop. They're awesome. They let us, obviously we rent out the space, but yeah. They go to Fran's. They're awesome. Great people.
This is great. I mean, it feels like you've really been, set up for success.
Yes, absolutely.
Pretty well.
The athletic department is so supportive. That was one of the reasons, why we decided that this was a good fit for us, because they're so committed to their bowling program. Unfortunately, they've had a rough couple of previous years, I'm going to be honest, and they were like, we want to turn this program around. We want it to be the best we can. Bowling can get overlooked sometimes,
Sure.
In the athletic collegiate world, but that's not the case at Wartburg at all.
That's awesome news. That's, most of the time you hear that ADs are supportive,
Yes.
typically speaking. But every now and then
It does happen.
You do hear
yeah.
a few stories where it's kind of the opposite. And especially for you as a first year, because everything's new, right?
Yes.
For you and Brandon, everything. And you just really went down the list on all of those things. I feel like from the bowling side, right, you probably felt okay about jumping into it.
Yes.
The lane play strategy between you and Brandon and having an understanding of that, and obviously your own family background as well. And then I know, talking to a lot of first-year coaches, the administrative side, the rules, paperwork, contact periods and recruiting,
Yep.
and all that stuff is what can be overwhelming, it seems.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, USBC does a good job at getting that information out to us for sure. But yeah.
Eligibility forms.
Yeah, those, oh my goodness, I just finished, completing those the other day, and our hours aren't equivalent to the structure of their form, so our registrar has to convert everything, so it's a big process that I was like, wow, I did not expect it to be like this. I thought it was just check mark, yep, they're good to go. It's nope. But yeah, just stuff you don't see, as an athlete in college. You're like, oh yeah, I could coach. This is on the lanes, we're good. But then you get, into the office and you're like, wow, I did not even know this form existed.
I've only, and I'm not a coach. I do want to be one in the future. But I can just think back to my days bowling collegiately and just kind of seeing a form or two every now and then, that eligibility form.
Yep.
That would come out a couple times a year, and you had to go through it as a player, just kind of double check, verify that some information is right. How many credit hours you're actually taking, making sure that's right, all this other stuff. And I was like, man, we're just going through and verifying this. We're not even the coach.
Yeah.
Or
yep.
coaches. So I'm sure what they're doing is times a gazillion and behind the scenes. So I'm already appreciative of you.
Yeah, I was going to say, a newfound appreciation for college coaches, 100%. Yeah, it may seem like it's not too much on the surface, but once you get really into it, it can get a little overwhelming, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. I truly am so grateful I made this jump into this job. It has been very rewarding already. We haven't even had a tournament yet, so I'm super excited.
Most, I'm going to go through the standings real quick, and Alexis Runk is joining us again from Wartburg College. I've got a couple more questions for her specifically. One will involve recruiting here in a moment, but as we watch Melanie Burrish here, she's got spare four-bagger. As soon as I talk about someone who is doing some great stuff, I black cloud them, which is what happens here often. But Melanie's off to a good start this game. Abigail Starkey is also on this pair. She is clean with a split conversion in the fourth. And Abby went plus 215 on the long pattern yesterday.
Oh, wow.
She is second overall at plus 112. Currently behind Gianna Brandolino at plus 141. Again, this is U18 girls. Sarah Legou, who had a 195 game, very nice finish on 27-28 in game number 2. She's third at minus 90, and Brooklyn High is fourth at minus 105. Ashlyn Tevis, just 85 pins back at the moment at minus 190, still with an opportunity to make the top 4. Again, top 4 in each division advance to the Stepladder finals this afternoon. U15 girls, Sophia DeLucia has taken the lead at minus 204, followed by Savannah Portillo, who we just saw make a washout in frame 3. Skylar Petz, and then Bella Santalese and Alexis Hyde. Bella, Alexis, Rylan, Michelle. There's probably 4 to 5 players who could
It's close right there.
take that final spot for the Stepladder in U15 girls. So that's going to come down to the wire. in U15 boys, Anthony Swanson, we saw him shoot 180 a game ago on 25 and 26. He's plus 147. Rushdeen is second. Of course, Rush is local. We're talking about him throughout the week. His dad, Brandon, is on the YBSF committee. Sebi Vetter at minus 44. Josh Weems, he's been grinding it out. He's fourth right now at minus 76. Tyler Paulus, also in front of us right now. He is currently fifth at minus 124. JT Grothis is near the cut, along with Israel Luna as well. And then finally, in U18 boys, Trey Henriksmeyer has climbed the ladder to take the lead, the overall lead at that, at plus 214. We're talking about Trey, and the LBC, big LBC win for him, was recently featured on that LBC Clash, which aired on FS1 last weekend. He's plus 214. Landon Jordan is second at plus 197. Carson Reed, who's been very good throughout this weekend, he's third at plus 105. And Griffin Jordan right now in fourth at plus 79. Josh Sachs is just 5 pins back of fourth at plus 74. Davis Best, who is on 27 and 28, struggling a little bit here in game number 3. He is plus 1 in 6th place. So still some opportunities though for Davis. He might need a little bit of help as the race to the top 4 across all 4 divisions starting to iron itself out and take shape here on this medium pattern. For you, how I'm sure you've been watching Tyler today. Tyler Reeves. How difficult has the pattern been playing, coupled with the house characteristics that you talked about? Because it's looked kind of up and down to a degree, and I was thinking maybe we might see a few more high scores today.
Yeah, for sure. There's definitely 2 very obvious angles of attack, especially like Tyler, like I said, has been up the lane quite a bit. That's more his A game. I was watching Anthony Swanson a little bit. He's also staying right up the track with a weaker piece. And then I also watched Trey, who is actually in at 4th arrow. But I definitely, from seeing all those ball reactions, I think the track was a good place to start. Games 1 and 2, they're definitely starting to lose their look a little bit here. Looks like Anthony needs to bail out. Yep, this game for 2-0. Tyler's struggling a little bit as well. But I watched Trey, and he had a nice spot to throw it to for sure. So I think we will, if the players start to jump left here, I think we will start to see some big scores. Yeah, it looks like he has the front 6.
He does.
Again. So, yeah, he was throwing a shiny exponent, I believe, when I watched him earlier. But
259, 238, first 2 for Trey
strikes.
Henriksmeyer. So Landon has gone 233, 242 for the first 2. Again, those are the 2 highest totals in U18 boys. In fact, they're the only 2+ through 2 games in that division. U18 girls on the medium pattern. Gianna started with 278, followed with 198. She's 76 over. Sarah Legou is 19 over. Again, the only 2 players in that division plus through 2 games. U15 girls. Savannah Portillo, Sophia DeLucia, they've been battling and still battling even on this medium pattern. As we continue to watch Savannah here, and in 15 boys, a couple players plus in U15 boys. But again, the one thing that's standing out is not a lot of 200 games on this pattern. Not quite playing, I think, like the short from a level of difficulty, but I think thinking that I might see a few more scores, and it's like, maybe not.
Yeah, and pair to pair in this house is always definitely tricky, even lane to lane when you get at the high end for sure. So being on top of those, ball changes and moves is super critical. When you go, like yesterday, Tyler flipped into the center, and he, what I thought was a decent shot from up here, he smacked the 3-pin on the right side. I was like, oh my goodness. I'm not surprised, but yeah. So you definitely got to be on top of it. And, I think medium patterns, show house characteristics even more for sure. But so.
Why do you think that? Someone mentioned that actually yesterday.
Really?
Not exactly the way you just described that, but medium patterns may mimic to a degree, in obviously not 100%, but to house patterns. Is it just because of the length potentially?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, for sure. And this volume, yeah, it's only 26 mils.
26.
Right, so yeah, definitely the mid lane comes into play a lot versus like, on long patterns, your ball, the oil helps the ball get through that mid lane. You don't see that house characteristic quite as much as, you would on the medium patterns. And I think that's why short played, fairly difficult here because the gutter is just not the greatest for sure. We were here at the practice session and it was, 35 feet and like the mills, they weren't super high either. And I watched a couple of shots and I was like, that is not like 35 feet. I was like, are you sure that's not the medium pattern? Like 1, 2, 3 did not hook. Like I was, shocked by that. But, when we practice here, like we see the same thing. Yeah, just not friendly on the gutter.
So you mentioned that unfortunately there was a center, and Brandon talked a little bit about this yesterday. There was a center that closed during COVID,
Yes.
unfortunately, and it was purchased and now reopened on behalf of the Wartburg College bowling programs. How many lanes in that center?
There's 12 lanes,
12 lanes
at the center. Yeah, it's definitely a great practice facility. We're grateful to have, pretty much free reign, to do what we need to do during our practice times. They did just open to the public this weekend, and I think it's been going pretty well. So, I'm happy for them, and I hope to see, we love small family businesses succeeding. It's, difficult nowadays. Bowling is, starting to get taken over by some pretty major corporations for the most part. So, centers in this area are still family owned, so that's always, a good little heart warmer.
Absolutely. I feel like that's got to be from the family center aspect normal for you,
Yes.
especially from your own family background as well.
Yes, 100%.
In the booth again with Alexis Runk, head coach at Wartburg College. When you watch youth bowling now, right, and you're probably watching it now from a much different level now that you're a coach, are you surprised, or maybe not surprised anymore, just about how talented these players really and truly are?
I'm not surprised. Like we think about this a lot. You can see, like each generation adapts, to what the game's asking for. In the game nowadays, you need a higher rev rate. You need to be able to create, that room down lane. Accuracy obviously is still as always important. Especially get to the elite level. But I'm definitely not surprised. At with the coaching available. And social media as well has a big influence on that because, back 20, 30 years ago, you couldn't go on social media and be like, how do I fix this part of my release? It's something you would have to go out and seek, a professional coach. You can't, information is so easily accessible these days that, I think the youth will just continue to get better and better for sure.
Double dribble there for Clark Bonnewell. He's struggling on this medium pattern this game. Seem to have some very good moments, both on the short and long patterns. Mentioned Tyler Paulus not too far away from potential spot in Stepladder finals. He's got to put the striking shoes on, but right now, just looking around, Alex Huntley is still. Let's see where Alex Huntley is in the standings. Every time I watch him, he's got like 4 or 5 in a row.
I think he struggled a little bit yesterday. He's from the Waterloo area, so we were keeping some tabs on it.
How quickly did it take you to kind of get acclimated to the community, and I guess even from the community standpoint, of them, kind of being very welcoming to you guys?
Absolutely. So yeah, I mean, as anywhere new, it's a little nerve-wracking, but we came to practice for the first time, after we just moved here, and the amount of people who were so welcoming, we were literally just here practicing, and the amount of people that came up to us and introduced ourselves, and we were like, if you ever need anything, we're here. Brandon was one of the first. Brandon Steen was one of the first people to introduce himself, and he's an amazing guy and really just wants youth bowling to succeed, and it's really awesome to see. But yeah, no, the people in this area are so kind. I'm from backwoods PA. So I'm used to the, homey, good hospitality, and, it's no different here. And, I'm super grateful for everyone in this community that has been super accepting to Brandon and I and helpful.
That's a very good breakdown for Savannah. Huntley, again, with 6 in a row. He took a chance to really do something really cool on this medium pattern. He does have a lot of pins to make up, but from that vantage point, if you could give some advice to, and this might be, something that obviously will come about as the collegiate season goes on. You're not going to win every tournament, and then there could be some tough performances too some weeks. I'm sure you and Brandon both have experienced that individually as well. How do you handle those types of adversities, whether the performance is good, bad, etc.? And how would you advise someone, that's 14, 15, 16 years old to handle the ups and downs of competition?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's kind of, cliche that you're always learning, no matter what, but it really is true. Like I've had, to be honest, a rough, last PWBA season. It's mentally exhausting, and it feels like, sometimes it gets so bad that you feel like you're like, what am I doing here? But, what I do is I always take a step back, and I'm like, why am I doing this? What do I love? Like, I love this sport. Why do I love it? What do I need to do, to get myself, to compete at this level? You just take a step back, go to the drawing board sometimes. If you have one bad performance, for me, what I like to do is I just like to go into the center. I like to replicate, what, I struggled with that past weekend and prove to myself, I am capable of, doing this. And, I'm really grateful. My friend, Jamie Kulaga, she's actually, she always yells at me because I say it wrong. I always call it, she's not a sports psychologist. She's a mental performance consultant.
Okay.
So I'm super grateful for her help. The mental game is so important in bowling, and, having those tough performances, she, really works with us and helps us see, like, our goals and, what we can do better. So, utilizing her as a resource to get past those moments is super important, but also, like, realizing why I'm here. But yeah, like I said, if you have a repeated issue of struggling, like, I've seen recently, take a step back, evaluate your game. That's what I did. I don't naturally have a lot of power, unfortunately. I have some wrist issues. So I was like, what do I need to do to be able to compete in the new age game?
Right.
So I was like, as much as I didn't want to use a wrist brace, you have to be real with yourself. What do you need to succeed? What do you need to be able to do to compete, at your highest level? And, just go back to the drawing board, and then, just work hard, and just accept, what you need to do. Yeah, to succeed, I guess.
That was a great answer.
Yeah.
That was a great answer. 238 by Alex, but
Very nice.
I grew up, I think we've all grown up understanding and being taught that bowling is, let's just call it 90% mental, 10% physical, right? Let's just throw that ratio out there. But once you get into it and you're competing at a high level, in your case and Brandon at the professional level, even at the high level of our youth game today, right? It really is about the mental game, and watching how many individuals have gone into either we're in the psychology space already and then kind of, ventured out. Your friend you just talked about, I'm sure, opening up a business or a consulting firm to aid and assist in bettering one's mental game, and watching how that part of the sport has evolved for the better.
Absolutely.
Really has been great. It really has. 210 there for Ms. Burrish there. That's a fantastic game. I think she was one player, if I recall, last year. I think maybe bowling, something to this degree, very tough conditions for the first time, and here she is back. Again, I think we've probably got several first-timers, several Coach Dean was saying, a couple that may be bowling on sport conditions for the first time or have had minimal experience on sport patterns as well. And, you just hop right in and see what happens.
Yeah, you absolutely just have to go for it. I mean, competing on, sport conditions as a youth bowler is so critical into developing to the next level. There are so many more opportunities now, thankfully, than, 10, 20 years ago. For the kids to compete, I wish there were still more opportunities, at least in the Iowa area, there is a lot of, all their high school bowling is on house shots. I would like to see that, develop a little bit more into not having high school kids necessarily just always competing on house shot. I don't think it's really helping them as much, as like a tournament like this. I'm grateful, I'm from Pennsylvania, so Anthony and I grew up bowling PJBTs, on sport shots every weekend, and we really do credit, a lot of our, development to those tournaments. Because first when we got there, we got run over. Don't you mistake that. But sometimes you need to get beat down a little bit in order to be like, okay, maybe I'm not as hot as I thought I was.
That's great. That's some good realism right
yeah.
there. Yeah, I think you're in a perfect spot, honestly, to if maybe that could change in the future from some of the conditions that are applied for certain youth events in the state. Considering, I feel that Iowa in the last 5 to 7 years has probably had the most growth from a college bowling perspective overall. The amount of new programs, and not brand new, but new in the sense that maybe they're still 5 years and younger.
Yes.
And whether they're 2 or 4 year programs is remarkable just in this state alone, which, having said that, then you have the ability to say, okay, we have X number of collegiate programs. You can consider, the leadership and, whatever aspects to make the conditions a little tougher, just because those players, many of them are going to compete at the next level collegiately in this state.
Yes.
And so they may benefit from obviously having that opportunity, or to bowl on something a little bit tougher before they get to college, as opposed to obviously getting there and getting that wake-up call.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, you don't want to go from bowling on 10-1 house shot to 2-1 sports shot. It's definitely a smack in the face. But.
All right, so as we wrap this game up, I want to get your thought process in regards to recruiting, and meaning, and you touched on it a little bit from the athlete's perspective. What do you look for? And it's early, obviously, in your philosophy.
Yes.
And it's going to change probably, but probably not much. But overall, like from right now, you're here. Did you get a chance to go to Junior Gold?
We did.
Okay,
we did.
good. Okay. So from that experience to this experience, and you'll have more experiences talking to parents and potential student athletes. What do you look for, right now in a potential student athlete for you?
Yeah, absolutely. So like you said, it is super early in our development of the recruiting process. Something that is really important for me to watch is honestly, besides on the lanes, I also want to start with what I look at is relationship and between the parent and the student athlete, and their behavior, is super important to me, because you can be, an incredible athlete, but your attitude for team bowling, if you're disrespectful, or, there's a level of competitive passion that is absolutely okay, but if you're a hothead and, acting inappropriately, that's a big, issue. There's always, you can work on it, of course, but that's super important to me when recruiting is, looking at that behavior and interaction with your parents, because if you're not respecting your parents, you're probably not going to respect your teammates. And then on the lanes wise, I like to look, not necessarily, at the standings or anything.
Sure.
I like to look at the mechanics. Do they have, a good basis, a good foundation, natural talent, good spare shooting for sure. Teammate bagger is a big thing nowadays, right? So, but spare shooting to me is, what really takes you to the next level. So, those are the 3 big things that we watch out for when recruiting so far. I'm sure it will, like you said, develop as we go, but for now, those are our focus points.
That was a great game from Maya Santalis as well, 248.
It looks like she got a tough pair too. she figured it out.
Yeah, this pair hasn't been the easiest. The right lane has been very difficult for a lot of players on 25 and 26. So, you know, that might be a name for you to circle, Maya Santos.
Yes, absolutely.
See if Clark can finish strong. It's a good
There you
shot.
go. Looks like he just made a ball change there.
Maya, in fact, has gone, she started slow 159, 203, and now has put up 248 on this medium
Very
pattern.
nice.
Looks like she's had a very good look. She's going to go down to 31 and 32. Maya bowls a lot of Elite Youth Tour events in the Chicagoland area, which is where her and her family's from. Her sister Bella is bowling. Also, and Bella's got a chance to make the Stepladder in U15 girls. So we could see a Santa Lise in the Stepladder finals this afternoon.
There are a lot of brother, sister, you know, sibling duos competing this weekend, which I think is pretty cool. We're still learning a lot of the youth bowlers, you know, in this area, trying to keep, you know, tabs on them. But it's been a really great experience, and watching these kids compete this weekend has been,
Well, I'm going to give
very
you
fulfilling.
one I guess, tip, if you will. And I told Roger the same. I've talked to Roger a couple times well before this, so I've gotten to know him pretty well. And I mentioned the EYT, and I stream monthly there. It's Deandra's,
Oh, okay.
Deandra's Youth Tour. It's in the Chicagoland area. And if you ever get a chance, that would be a very good spot for you and Brandon to make a trip to. If you're in the area, obviously your season's about to start, so it could get a little iffy, but be a good spot to take a look at potential recruits.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, Bonnewell with the spare, and then we will let Alexis go forth and recruit. Before you go, just let people know where they can kind of contact you in case they are interested in bowling at Wartburg.
Yeah, absolutely. So my email, alexis.runk@wartburg.edu. Or if you go on to, we have a Facebook, Wartburg Bowling, so you're welcome to message that, as well as, our Wartburg Athletic browser on the internet. We have a recruiting questionnaire we just recently modified a little bit, so fill that out and we'll get in contact with you if you'd rather reach out that way. But yeah, go Wartburg.
Excellent. Hey, good luck next weekend.
Thank you.
Enjoy it. I know there'll be some nerves, so
yeah,
they will
absolutely.
hopefully go away. But have as much fun as you can with you and the team.
Will do. Thank you so
You're
much
welcome.
for having me.
Thank you. That is Alexis Runk, head coach at Wartburg College. Game 4 next here on Bowlstream TV. All right, folks. As we continue on here with game number 4. It has been a good day overall, but an interesting day for sure. And what I mean by that is we just talked about the scoring pace, and I think I was expecting to see the scores a little bit higher, but in a way, I think this venue is the perfect place to hold this event because of the house characteristics. You know, you want to make it challenging, and the YBSF staff have already done that by introducing or having 3 lane conditions at 3 different lengths to challenge the players. And you almost get a bonus challenge, right? Because you get a chance to learn the house characteristics. And so, you know, at the next level, a lot of players, professionals, and even those at this level, take a lot of notes. And that's a good habit to get into. Now, I'm speaking from someone who watches people take notes all the time. I can't imagine the difficulty actually of, you know, throwing a shot, and then kind of deciphering what you just saw and then writing it down or typing it into the phone, etc. But, you know, this is the venue that we will continue to host or have this event and host, which has been, they've been great. Shout out to Cadillac XBC. And the opportunities just to take those notes, and then you'll have an opportunity to write those things down, relive those notes, and, you know, from a house characteristics perspective. So high end playing different than the low end, which is typical. But I think someone who could probably tell us a little bit more about that is he's crisscrossed both ends of the building with his son and watching other players this week. Is one Kenny Shawkinsey, who is joining us now here on Boldstream TV. Sir, how are you? And I appreciate you joining me today.
Oh, we're doing real well. You know, I'm glad to be up here, and it's finally good to be up here. You know, I've always seen you do it for over the last few years. I'm like, one of these days I might get on there.
Yes. Yeah, I wanted to understand that you are getting into the collegiate bowling space as well, and I want to give you that opportunity to kind of talk about that journey and maybe why you're doing it, and certainly talk about the school, where it's located, and so we'll start there. What school is it, and why did you want to kind of hop into the collegiate bowling world?
Yeah, it's Spoon River College. It's in Canton, Illinois. It's just about 5 minutes outside town. It's a smaller community college. There's roughly 640 kids that they have in the school program this year, and 350 are on campus. The rest are on through the internet. But you know, it was on a whim. I just got word in June that they were going to start up a bowling team, and you know, in our area, there's not a lot of high school bowling.
Okay.
So it was just out of the blue. We were shocked, you know, to even hear it come up, and you know, everybody says you would be a good fit. I mean, I love this game. You know, I love everything about it. I've been doing it since I've been about 12 years old, and I've been coaching for the past 25 years. So it's good. I would love to be able to just take this as a full-time job, but
okay.
you know, it's in our area that, you know, that doesn't happen.
Right.
But maybe, you know, going forward, and you know, Zane's got a few more years, so that's another thing. I'm like, if I keep him around home for a few more years and coach him, you know, I love it. You know, so it's a lot. You know, I just jumped right into it, and you know, not knowing what to do. You know, that's the hardest thing, because I bowled collegiate years ago for a few years, and you know, it's fun. You know, collegiate's where it's at.
Absolutely, I agree. Where'd you bowl?
I bowled for Western.
Illinois?
Yep.
How about that?
Yep. After they were good, you know, when they went back to back in '99 and 2000, yeah. I was there 04, 05.
Really?
Yep.
Get out of here.
Nope. You know, the one. I wasn't on the A team. I was on the B team, and
okay.
we went out to Vegas. You know, every year in
sure.
December they always have their big one. Well, I could say is I beat Sean Rash in the singles competition, because I won the competition for singles. And, you know, that doesn't,
shoot.
You know, I won over everybody.
Right, that's a big
A
deal.
team, B team. Yeah, it was a real deal.
Yeah, that's
you know,
a tier 1 singles title.
It is. You know, I have a jacket to prove it. You know, I have that on my belt, and you know, it felt really good. And it's just college bowling is awesome. You know, it's so high intense, and you know, there's nothing better than college bowling, I don't think.
Did you get a chance to bowl with Jesse?
Bus?
Yeah.
Yes. Me and Jesse were good friends. We crossed paths many times. I see him every once in a while at state. So yeah, Chris Drews.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Bill. What was his last name? You know who I'm talking
yes,
about.
I'm friends with him on Facebook. I can't think of.
Wow,
his
you went
last
to
name.
Western.
Yeah.
I went to Lindenwood at that same time.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I know our paths crossed.
Oh yeah, I imagine they
without
did.
a doubt.
Yeah.
Without a doubt, they crossed.
Because you was with who's the two-hander?
Brian
Valencia.
Yeah.
You know, he was. I thought he was like, this guy's a real deal.
Yeah.
When he went back up, because we was bowling the Western tournament in
the
Davenport.
Leatherneck. Yeah, Leatherneck. Yeah.
And he just walked away. He was doing backup lefty, and it was phenomenal.
I try to tell people, and you know, I'm very biased because BB is a friend and former teammate, but I do try to be honest with people and say I'm not trying to sugarcoat it, but BB was doing the things that we're seeing now from Simo, Belmo, in the early 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
He really was doing these things.
Yeah.
And he was great.
He was really good.
He was great.
This is before those guys, and he was.
Yes.
That was the first you see it. You know, Brian was one of the first two-handers that we
And
seen.
little did we know that obviously Belmo was doing those things just on the other
Yes.
side of the world.
Yep.
But in the United States, where you could actually see it, and people were still kind of honestly like, "Whoa, like,
Yeah.
is that a thing? Should we be doing that? Looks illegal."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What he was doing with the bowling ball was amazing.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, well, shoot.
Yeah.
This conversation just went a whole different direction.
It
We're
did.
supposed to be talking about your school, and
Yeah.
now we're reliving college bowling memories.
Oh man, college bowling was fun. You know, it takes you a lot of places.
It
You meet
does.
a lot of people, and I mean,
That's great.
And that's why I think it's college bowling is so good that you can put so many guys together from different states, and they come friends.
Right.
You know, and you're gonna have friends for the rest of your
Friends
life.
for life.
Yeah.
And, you know, in and out of people's weddings. You go to the weddings, like
That's
all
right.
that stuff. You know,
Yep.
some good stuff.
Yep.
From the Zane perspective, right? And you said he's got a few more years. I feel like, you know, since I've been involved with the EYT, and obviously, which is where I've met Coach Steen, and you know, so I've seen a lot of these wonderful youth players, including Zane. We've been talking about growth spurts, and that's kind of been a big thing lately.
Yes.
Talking about Coach Steen with Rush. I remember Joss has, you know, from a growth spurt. Even Zane to this point, right?
Oh, huge.
And I'm just like, and I'm watching him now, you know, I feel like being a little bit better control of what he's doing on the lanes, just from the physical maturation. He already had, I feel like, a good, decent ball speed, but now you can see it on display. For you as a coach, like, what's that part been like for you? Because I talked to Coach Steen about it, and I know it can be difficult from the player perspective because they probably feel like they just can't get it right.
Yes.
Yet it's just the body doing what it's naturally supposed to do.
Yep, and we moved up this year from 14 to 15 just to kind of control that. And now he's been doing strength training through school.
That's a good idea.
So he's, you know, getting more muscle on it, and now it's just becoming more natural. So what we really have to focus on is timing. Timing is the key because we get, with being, you know, bigger and stronger, if we get a little faster, it throws the whole game out of whack.
Right.
So we're working on getting to the line from point A to point B as similar and consistent, because if we could do that, we're going to make great shots. But if we can't repeat it, and that's why Landon is so good. He can get from point A to point B every time the same. Griff's the same way. That's why they're so good. It's not because they're accurate. It all starts with our feet.
Right.
And once we do everything over and over and over, we're going to hit our mark over and over and over. And it's a lot, you know. And then you got your mental game. The mental game is huge, and that's what most of these kids lack. My son included. Their game is good. Their mental game's not any good. You know, it's there. You know, if they're bowling good, the mental game's good. If they're bowling okay, their mental game's, you know, that's where it starts. So, and that's what we do a lot of. I don't have a lot of resources around our area because bowling's just not big in our area.
Where are you guys located, like, on the map?
So,
What's the
you know where
nearest-
Peoria?
Yes.
We're about 30 miles west of Peoria.
Gotcha. Okay.
So everybody says like a hick town. It's not a hick town. You know, it's country all around us. But I think the next closest town has high school bowling is 45 minutes away.
Gotcha.
And that's, you know, 2 of them. That's Morton, I think, has it, and Galesburg. Other than that, I don't think a lot of places have it. And that's so hard because high school bowling would be great, but we'd have to travel a couple hours each time to have a match, and
That's true. That's a good point.
you know, and you can't do that.
Zane is in high school now, right?
Yeah,
Or-
he's a sophomore.
Okay.
Yep. And I'm hoping, you know, because getting thrown into this college deal, I didn't know anything about it. You know, you're talking about you got to understand what it costs. You know,
A lot of administrative
yes.
items that go into it.
Yeah, I did my first tour with just a softball player there, and, you know, that's eye-opening. You know, you take a tour with people, and you get to see everything, and then you talk about the numbers and, you know, the financial part of it, and it's like, man, I knew it cost money to go to school, but, man, I didn't know it cost this much. But the good thing with our college is we're not a club. You know, so we're able to do scholarships, and you know they're looking to try to get the best of the best. I mean, we have $42,000 to give for scholarship.
That's awesome.
Exactly.
Wow, at the gates.
Yeah, right out of the gate, and that's you know, that's what I was kind of worried about. Is like we got to give something to get people to come. You know, we're not going to get your Landons or Griffs or, you know, people like that because, you know, they're going to go bigger and better places. That's going to give them almost full rides.
Right.
You know, but we're hoping we can get some solid, you know, A players, you know, where we can give $4,000, $4,500 for scholarship and really ease their pocket,
Sure.
you know, and come bowl. We're only looking for 6 men, 6 women. So you're going to bowl every tournament we go to.
What's the kind of projected first season? Like next season,
Yep,
right?
24th.
Okay.
Or August of 24.
Okay. So you get I guess how many months, so to speak, have you given yourself from a recruiting perspective? Great spare, by the way, off camera, the old 4 or 5 pickup.
Oh, yeah.
From Elijah Donna. How many months per se, like, you know, is there a goal that you'd like to have, you know, at least 4 players on each team by this month so you don't have to kind of get to August, if you will?
Yeah, so they're looking to start trying to sign November 1st. That's
Okay.
what my college is looking
Signing
for.
period, right.
And I've had many talks with our athletic director, and I told him, I said, I feel like I'm being too picky. You know, I don't want to go out and try to just find bowlers.
Right.
I want to go out and try to find great bowlers. So, and that's why he's like, I understand. He's like, we just need to look at getting 6 men, 6 women so we can have a team to get started. So
I could understand how that could be difficult, especially from your vantage point, right? Because
Yes.
you're coaching a lot of really good to potentially great youth players
Yes.
already, right? You're here watching already good to potentially great players.
Yep.
Yeah, your own son included, right?
Yep.
So your mindset is to go and find those players.
Yeah, exactly.
And the AD is basically saying, hey, we just want to get the program started.
Yeah. They just
We
want to
need
get
a team.
the dollars coming in the door.
Let's get the students in.
Yes.
Get them enrolled.
Yes.
That's a tough balance.
Like you said, as a coach, you know,
Right. Because you're a coach first. Like,
yes. Yeah.
You want to be the best.
Exactly. You know, and it's like we said, we're not going to be the best right out of the gate. And I've told them many times, I said, I hope it's not like a 1 and done, 2 and done. I was like, because my son's coming up in the next few years, and he's got
Sure.
good friends that's coming
Right.
up. And I keep on preaching to their friends. I'm like, I know you guys go somewhere. I said, but I got a full basement I could turn into just a party house for you guys. And I said, you know how fun it would be? You have 4 of your 5 of your friends. You stay together. You go bowl
Right.
together. You know, I wish I'd have had that because
Yeah.
we just met these guys, and then you
Right.
you create that relationship. You create a relationship already now, and then you go bowl college
Yeah.
with them. You're going to win. You're going to have a great time. So that's huge.
You
So
guys
that's
a
what I'm
2 or
trying.
4 year?
2 year.
2 year, okay.
Yeah, just a JUCO college. So we'll be bowling NJCAA tournaments, and you know they're looking to bowl 2 tournaments a month. So
Okay.
I mean, and it's all paid for they don't. I mean, nothing out of the pocket for kids. I don't know food-wise, maybe food-wise other than that. I mean, hotel stay, gas, everything is covered by the college. Like if we did a tournament, you know, we wanted to go to Vegas every year, we would fundraise that. They have other opportunities. They fundraise a lot of things to cover the cost of that flight. So it's, like I said, it's exciting, but it's nerve-wracking, you know.
Yeah,
you're starting from nothing. And
that anxiety.
Yes, and that's what I feel sometimes. It's like, you know, I keep on putting my name out there, and I keep on talking to other bowling. Oh, that's nice.
Hey,
we've seen that.
Great shot, terrible break there for Carson Reed.
You know, Zane had 2 of those early. Joss had 2 smash 7s early. It's like, you know, give them their hits.
It's been a tricky, and I want to get your thoughts on today's pattern, because you know every pattern's been tricky to a degree, but you know medium patterns, I'm especially this one, I'm like, okay, I think there should be a good opportunity to get some pins back, for those trying to make a run at the stepladder. But man, this pattern hasn't given a lot. Like you've had to really earn it, just like you've had to earn it on the short and the long pattern.
Yeah. So what I've kind of seen is you don't want to open your angles up a lot because you get in a lot of trouble. So you know I've been helping Anthony and Joss and Zane and a few other ones. I'm like, we just got to keep our moves square and try to control the head pin a little more. Don't open our angles too much. We work on, and I tell my kids, down lane mark is the most crucial mark. We got to get our ball to that spot. And what I've seen is if you get your ball anywhere from 6 to 8 to 9, no matter where you're playing, you're going to be in the pocket.
Okay.
We just have to find the ball that's going to give you that best look. And everything I've seen is there. You know, you watch other kids around and you watch where their ball's getting to at the down lane mark, and it's right there. So that's what I really preach to my son is, yes, we want to hit our mark here, but down lane is the most important mark because that controls everything.
How difficult sometimes is that message? And not just Zane, but really anyone that you coach. It could be an adult. Like
yes.
I know it's not the easiest concept, especially when you think about it front to back, and then we start talking about left to right.
Yep.
How to look at the lane, and it could be different depending on what you're bowling on. But obviously on this, wow, that should have been made right there next door.
Yeah.
You know, front to back, I'm sure is the kind of the way of thinking.
Well, if you go through in a lot of these bowlers, they don't know that down lane mark. They're looking at that first mark and being like, all right, I hit it there.
Right.
They're not looking like if they hit it in
Unsure
a little.
what's happening down there.
Exactly, because they don't follow their eyes. I mean, I'll be guilty. When my first, till I was 25, I didn't really worry about that. I was really worried about that first mark. And now once you start watching, I'm a ball roll person. All I watch is ball roll. And Anthony's the same way. Anthony Jordan, he's the same way. He could tell off your hand if that ball's going to be good or not. I'm the same way. I could tell you 90% of the time if I watched a kid, that ball's going to be in the pocket just because I watch a ball roll. And if they worry about hitting that down lane mark, you know, you could tell they're good bowlers if they could hit that spot every time.
I agree with that, which is very difficult to do.
Yes.
We're in the booth with Kenny Shaughnessy. He's the new head coach now at Spoon River College, correct?
Yes. We're called the Snappers.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, it's on the.
Okay, that's the logo?
Yeah.
I might need to give me a hat.
Yeah.
That's giving me kind of minor league baseball type vibes right there. Like I like that hat a lot.
Yep. So we're Trey's been bowling really good at it.
Yeah, he went 250, 240. He had a chance at 270. But I'm not sure where he finished that game 3. Let me check that out real quick. In fact, 256. He went 259, 238, 256. He and Landon plus 153, plus 115 respectively on this pattern alone.
Yeah, he throws the ball really well. That's another kid that's going to go somewhere, and you know he's going to be phenomenal wherever he goes. And you know, you could just tell, you've been seeing it over the last 3 or 4 years that you know which kids are going to go somewhere, and then you know some of the kids, you know, they're going to maybe do a little junior college and then be done. But you know your kids that's going to go on past this.
And I think what I've learned, and especially so you bowl collegiate, we just talked about that. Having conversations last year with Roger, really for me, I started to think about the 2-year school from a different aspect. And he was on early. We were talking about the stereotype where your experience might be, people think 2-year and they think something completely different. Like it's not a 4-year, so there's already this stigma, if you will. But yet it's could be a great place, and it doesn't even matter the skill set or the level, right? If you want to go, maybe you're undecided on school or what you want to major in, you can go to a 2-year, figure that out,
Get your gen ed.
Gen ed's out the way, and then transfer. And still have an opportunity not only to bowl but win national championships at the NJCAA level, which Hawkeye has won in the last couple of years. Rock Valley has won in the last couple also. And so I really started to pay attention to it. And so when I'm here, obviously I'm at EYTs all the time, and I talk about that just so the parents or the grandparents who are listening kind of understand it at every level. Of course, there's plenty of 4 years that are really good, but not everyone, as we just mentioned, is going to be Trey or Landon out the gates. Right? They can work their way to get to that level, and they can do it at Spoon River or at Hawkeye or at Rock Valley or at Wartburg. Or Wartburg's not a 2-year, but it's kind of in the same boat. Smaller school with that hometown-like feel to it.
And that's what I try to push. So Shooter Garlish, Shooter, he bowls.
Love one of the best names, as I always say.
So he's a local. I've been coaching him for years, and I'm trying to get him. Like I said, I don't want to persuade you, Shooter. I said, but a lot of these other colleges, you have to bowl your way on. I was like, so right out of the gate, you're put into pressure. We don't want pressure. If you come here, you're going to get your gen eds out of the way, and you're going to bowl every tournament. Build that resume. So after your 2 years, I could call up these colleges and be like, hey, this is Shooter. This is his resume. Look what he's done in college bowling. They're going to look at that and be like, man, this kid's good. It's not like a local tournament or anything like that he's winning. This is on the collegiate level. That's what they want.
Yeah, and at the basis, too, you just, as I like to say, you just watch the film.
Yes.
You just watch the film on Shooter.
Exactly.
It's like, oh, yeah, I'd like him.
Yeah.
Let's sign him immediately.
And that's what, that's where I'm trying to find different angles how I can pursue to get decent bowlers, and it's so hard,
It is. There's a lot of options out there.
And that's it. There's so many JUCO colleges around, Chicago area they could go to. So my pole area, it's not a lot because Bloomington's about an hour away, and they got a few people, but they don't have the college.
Sure.
They don't have the like what Chicago and St. Louis has, a big variety of bowlers that are so much better. Once you get inside Peoria, Bloomington, you get a handful of kids that are, decent, but you have to span out to St. Louis area, Chicago area, Iowa, Indiana to find your good bowlers because you don't find them, local around us because there's just not any. And I think a lot of it has to do with proprietors. They don't push it hard enough.
Sure, that's a good point.
And I'm a big I run a pro shop at the bowling alley. That's my home house. And, we had a new proprietor come in about 6-7 years ago. And, she's not the perfect fit, I don't think, because she don't push. This is your future. Because after, my age era, if we don't have youth bowling, what do you have? And that's what I try to push. And that's why we try to push, bowling so much now. We're in parades, and we're trying to do anything to get any bowlers because there's so much scholarship out there. People don't understand that how much money there is.
Yes.
You ain't getting it from baseball. You ain't getting it from football. And, yes, those sports are fun, but you got to look past the future, into the future. If you want a $40,000 college bill, then go play those sports. Zane's been doing this for 4 years, and, he's accumulated over $10,000. Yeah, we have to pay for it, but at least he's getting something out of it. He's building the friendships.
Right.
There's a lot of positives that he gets out of it.
Just off when you said where you guys live, You know Will Hudson.
Will Hudson, yep.
He's in your area.
Yep.
Or in Peoria,
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken.
He's in Washington area, so
Gotcha.
it's about 15 minutes from Peoria
okay.
area.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, when you said that, I'm like, I think that's about the only one that I know just off the top of my head that lives in that vicinity. But you're right. You know, Chicago, St. Louis. I guess even you might even have to start. But there's so many schools now in Iowa.
Yes, very much so.
There's a ton of schools here now.
And like I said, that's the hardest. Is I wish I had this opportunity a little sooner where I could have set up a booth at Junior Golds.
Right.
Because then you have all these people to see. Now I'm trying to do a little local, 100 kids here, and most of these kids, there's probably, 12, 14 kids that are junior seniors in this thing. So, I mean, your future could look bright. It's just when you're starting from scratch, that's what the hardest thing is.
So we wrap up things here with Coach Shaughnessy. So how can people contact you if someone goes back, listens, or is watching now and they say, "Man, this sounds like a great opportunity for my son, daughter, granddaughter, grandson, etc." How does one get in contact?
You can go on the website src.edu, and that'll link you to me, or my email is Kenny, KENNY Shaughnessy, SHOCKENCY.edu, and send me an email there. I'm on Facebook. DM me. I'll respond back to you. I'd love, to get inboxes full of, kids bowling and, get the opportunities. Hey, you don't have to be 220 average bowlers. I'll be settled with 170, 180 average bowlers right now, because I'm a good enough coach. I think I could get them to the next level. I've been doing it so long. So anybody that wants to send out a DM or anything, I'm happy to look at it.
Excellent. Sir, good luck. If you need any help, questions, obviously I'm a huge proponent of college bowling, as you know. So even if it's, hey, can you go talk to the kids next year or something like that, happy to help.
Do you have any other – so I got on to a couple recruiting sites on Facebook. I mean, is there other places that that has stuff like that?
Well, right off the bat, I mean, Recruit Us has been they were already an organization that is built around recruiting collegiate bowling specifically, bowling athletes. And I think they're going to getting into other sports now. But basically, it's kind of like a mini junior gold trade show in a sense, to where the youth come and they, I won't call it a mini tournament, but there is some bowling. The players and the coaches get a chance to watch and then talk to the parents. And I think there's some classroom type stuff that goes around too.
Okay.
So I would start with Recruit Us.
Okay.
Billy Gasson has jumped on along with that as well. That would be my first place. And then there's probably some Facebook groups. I feel like I've seen a couple Facebook groups that are just kind of related to either like high school bowling or recruiting. The Illinois High School State Tournament for boys is in Fairview Heights.
Yep. Near
St. Louis.
Yep.
That's in January. State tournament in Illinois for the girls typically is in February at the Cherry Bowl in Rockford.
Okay.
I think every state tournament now is somewhere between January and March from a state perspective.
Okay.
I think even the Iowa, talking to Coach Steen, theirs is in February here. So it might be maybe you come back.
Yeah. I mean, I'll do anything to to see what we can get. I mean, that's a thing. I just don't want to. I don't want to flop. The first year.
Hey, I feel
that's the worst that I'm feeling. But I appreciate you having me on here. Anything I could get off of this would be phenomenal.
Start with Recruit Us and tell them I sent you.
All right, perfect. I'll do that. Thank you,
Good
sir.
luck,
Have a good one.
You're welcome. That is Kenny Shaughnessy, folks, head coach at Spoon River College, the latest collegiate bowling coach. We have reached Game 5, and you know what that means. It's now time to essentially determine our top 4 finalists in each division who are going to advance to the stepladders here this afternoon. It's NFL Sunday, so I know many of you are getting prepared to watch either your favorite teams win or lose. And if you're a Bears fan like me, well, it's been a tough one these last few weeks, except for, of course, Thursday night. Bears got their first victory against the Commanders. Oh, come on, Josh Sachs nearly had that one. And they played very good football, at least offensively they did, against Denver last week. Landon Jordan, 10-pin. Landon, at this point in the juncture of the term, looks like he is going to advance to the finals. But who's going to join him is the question in U18 boys. And as I look around, I see Game 5. I think everybody is just about into Game 5, which will be good from the pace perspective and getting the scores quickly updated on bowl metrics. Hey, Scott. In fact, Carrie, I feel that she was just on. Yeah, she was on 23 and 24 during Game 4. And she should now be on 29 and 30. If I'm correct, I'll verify that here in a second for you. Appreciate you tuning in, Scott. Don't forget about Lane Talk. That is correct. She is now on 29 and 30. And I'll take you there in just a little bit. She just struck in the second frame. Don't forget about Lane Talk, folks. And if you're just joining us also, the standings are available right at the top of the chat. Click that link and it'll take you right to bowl metrics. So as of this very moment, Trey Henriksmeyer leading the way at plus 303 in U18 boys, with Landon Jordan right there behind him at plus 274. Then there we've got a tie for third at plus 84 between Griffin Jordan and Josh Sachs, with Carson Reed at plus 69, 15 pins back of fourth place, which is the cut number. So Carson Reed is down on 33 and 34, so at least I'll be able to kind of keep an eye on his score. Josh Sachs is here on 25 and 26. Landon, of course, is on 23 and 24, but Landon and Trey are in. The race is now really about Griffin, Josh Sachs, and Carson Reed. Now, I don't see Griff, so he might be on the low end of the building. All right, so in U18 girls, let's see who's going to be in. Gianna is going to be in at plus 156 already. She and Abby Starkey have been the toast of this U18 division through the first couple of days here. Really, each have shined on a pattern. Although G led the division on short at plus 50, then Abigail Starkey went plus 215 on yesterday's long pattern, yesterday afternoon specifically, and then Gianna started the day with 278, of course, on our medium pattern. And she's gone 278, 198, 199, 216. Maya Santalese has had a very nice day on this medium pattern. In fact, she might even earn a medal for her performance on medium. The foundation has been awarding medals and being an acknowledgement of the top 3 in each division per pattern. So top 3 in each division on the short earn medals, top 3 in each division on long earn medals, and same thing will take place on the medium pattern also. But that total in U18 girls, G, Abby, and then there's a race for the final couple spots. Sarah Legou right there at minus 121, Brooklyn Hype right there at fourth at minus 145. Allison Roberts needs a big game and some help to try to get there. Certainly along with Ashlyn Tevis. Maya Santalese has moved up the leaderboard with her great performance so far on this medium pattern as well. And U15 girls, Sophia DeLucia, we just saw her finish up on 27-28. Still leading the way there, followed by Savannah Portillo, Skylar Petz, and Bella Santalese, with Rylan Lessinger, Michelle Wilson, and Alexis Hyde all within striking distance of fourth place. And finally, in the U15 boys division, Anthony Swanson at plus 110, followed by Rush Steen. Swanson at plus 110. I know Rush has struggled a little bit today, but he's still in great position to advance to the Stepladder finals. And at the end of the day, you just want to be able to say you've advanced and giving yourself a legit chance to win the tournament. Josh Weems has been grinding it out. He's at minus 65 for in third place. And Sebi Vetter, who is also in front of us on 25 and 26, at minus 109. JT Grothus, he is fifth at minus 165. That's Josh Sachs right there in the 7th pin. We'll get you over to 27 through 30 here in a moment. Actually, you know what? Let's do. Let's check this view out here for a little bit. Bella Hagen, one of our youngest competitors, I believe 12 years of age. No U12 division here at the Midwest Youth main event, just U15 and U18. Wouldn't be surprised if we see Bella Hagen at an EYT in the future, bowling in the U12 division. Good shot there for Sebi. That's a three-bagger. Again, Sebi trying to lock up a spot here in the U15 boys step ladder. Nice shot there by Caden. Up top right of your screen. going to hit the refresh button a couple times here just to make sure all of our scores are indeed updated, and I believe they are. Yep, so there's a few races. Few races again for the final spot. Oh, and the great spare. A little bit of a respot for 27 and 28. Josh Sachs. Oh, it's a good shot, and he's looking for his first strike. It's getting pretty interesting here for Josh. He's in the 6th frame and now starting to get to that point where you could run out of frames. Another great one for Landon. Again, he's going to be in. I want to thank all of our guests today. We essentially talked to every collegiate coach who has been represented here. Wartburg College, we talked to both Brandon Runk, assistant coach yesterday. We talked to head coach Alexis Runk today. We've talked to Roger Taylor Jr., head coach at Hawkeye Community College. Both of those schools are within essentially walking or eyes length or ears length, if you will, from where we are in Waterloo. And then, of course, we just spoke with Kenny Shockensee from Spoon River College, and that is in Central Illinois. I want to thank them for their insights, their opportunities to just kind of talk about their schools, what they're looking for. Each one of those schools, too, I'm in a different position, or each coach in a different position. Alexis and Brandon, similar to Kenny, are in a new role as coaches in the collegiate world. Wartburg, kind of an established program for a few years, but looking to kind of make the jump. Kenny and Spoon River, brand new program and fielding a team for 2024-2025 season. And Rogers already won a national championship at the junior college level, and of course looking to continue to enhance and better the program each and every season. Matthew McConaughey, one of the great staff members of the YBSF, joined us in game number 1. I appreciate all of our guests today here on Bowl Stream TV. All right, let's get the full look here. Couple scores. Josh Sachs about to step up over on 25 and 26. As you see Joseph Woods-Wiseman there putting together a nice game. Here's Sachs on the right. Good shot there. He's thrown several good ones. That's the first one. He really got some carry, of course. That was the high flush. So he's looking at a possible 215 is a Josh Sachs. And again, he's in a race in U18 boys where he's trying to hang on to a spot in the Stepladder finals. Right now he is tied for third with Griffin Jordan, which will put both of those players in the finals. Carson Reed has gone spare, open, three-bagger. And he trails Sachs and Jordan at the moment by 15 pins. That is the scenario in U18 boys. Again, click on Bowl Metrics. Click that link atop the chat or bowlmetrics.com. Make sure you visit or see the Midwest Youth Main Event tab or tournament. Click there to get all of your settings, or sorry, all of your standings and results as they happen. You can also check out lanetalk.com, which is what I'm going to do to try to keep an eye on Griffin. Sebi trying to hang on to a spot as well in U15 boys. Looks like we've got a few players and pairs already done with game number 5. And it looks like Griffin might be one of those players. Let's see. Sachs just left a Greek church. He sent the 10-pin flying. Oh! That was a good way to try to attack that Greek church. That was one you certainly go for in that situation. So his max is down now to 183. Meanwhile, Carson Reed has got a 4-bagger down on 33 and 34, folks. And Carson Reed is coming like Deion Sanders in Colorado. If you're a Coach Prime fan, we coming. That's Carson Reed right now. I told you we was coming. That's what Carson Reed's telling people, right? I told you I was coming for that spot in U18 boys. Again, he's trailing essentially by 15 pins. Now, I don't know Griffin's final tally. You can find it on Bowl Metrics. It does look like he might be done. Looks like he could have gone -2 overall, if that is correct on this pattern. And if that's the case, we can do the easy math there. So it's possible Griff went -1 again. So if he went 199, and I'm seeing his lane talk total at 798, which means he shot 199, which would mean he would finish at -80, or I'm sorry, +82 overall. Sachs is already behind that. So now it is, if that is correct, if Griffin is at +82, which is unofficial, it is Carson versus Josh Sachs right now for the final spot in U18 boys. I'm going to double check and confirm also what time the finals will be. I think I've got that event currently scheduled for 1 p.m. It's going to be much earlier than that. It might even be much closer to noon at this point. Just went ahead and changed that event to about 12:15 just in case. There will be a small break, but I don't think it's going to be very long to help players and their families be able to get out of here at a decent hour and make their drives or flights back home pretty easy and simple. Vicky Andrews finishes with 2:02 to our right. Gary finished at 1:47. Looks like just about every pair on the down on the low end is done. Sachs through the nose. You can see the frustration. I tell you, he went to that stretch between frames 3 through 6 where he threw some really good shots and only got 9. This is where you wonder if certain players are, even at this level, are score watchers or want to know the numbers. You know, it doesn't matter the level, but some want to know and some don't. So, you know, unsure, especially from a bowl metrics perspective, right? The standings are just right there for you to easily assess. So you can take a look at it from a mobile perspective. Meanwhile, Landon Jordan just stoned a brutal 8-pin. And, you know, Landon is a competitor, right? And you could be wondering, well, he's going to shoot 230. He's going to make the Stepladder finals. But, you know, there's an opportunity to win something. Landon wants to win it, right? He could have overtaken Trey Hendricksmeyer there for the overall lead and be the #1 seed and bowl 1 game to win the U18 boys crown as opposed to maybe 2 games. Difference in from a payout perspective too. All things that even those at this level certainly look at and try to understand. Carson Reed did strike in the 9th, so his max score now is 212. Sachs can only get to 173. Landon did finish with 237. This is a big shot here for Sachs. A double here at least is what he's looking at. Finally get some carry. Again, he came in at plus 84, which was a tie with Griffin Jordan. That's a good one. Oh, wow. All right, so if he gets the count, that's 161. Which means that will put him at plus 45. Of course, Carson Reed entered at plus 69. Carson Reed has to stay out of trouble. And if he does open, the count situation would be very, very important. Sebi, meanwhile, finishes with 192. And he should be, let me look. As the scores are starting to roll in here. I think Sebi should still be okay. Nicholas Pappas Jr. to close us out here on 25 and 26. All right, folks, just to kind of give you the radio call. Carson Reed did throw a double in the 10th. In fact, with the one in the 9th, of course, that was 3. He had 9 on the fill. I mean, it certainly goes plus that game and is going to, again, unofficially, we believe, have a spot in the Stepladder Finals in U18 boys. A lot of it would depend on, again, as we talked about, if what I saw from Lane Talk was correct for Griffin, then it's going to be Trey Hendricksmeyer and or Griffin Jordan. So it already looks like what I saw from that total earlier wasn't quite correct for Griff. It looks like he had a little bit more in the final game. He did. Big 257 game. So Griffin is in. So it's going to be in U18 boys as the numbers start to roll in. Some combination of Trey Hendricksmeyer and Landon Jordan. The 1-2 between those two. Griffin Jordan and now we believe Carson Reed has earned that last spot.
Final round of the Midwest Youth Main Event round 2. I am going to give you about 5 more minutes to purchase more raffle tickets. We'll make it 8 more minutes. At 11:30, we're going to cut off raffle sales and we'll start drawing for raffle items at 11:30.
You hear raffle items.
Scores and start announcing our cashers after we get done with our raffle. So give us 7 minutes for raffle tickets, and then we'll get scores after that.
So, folks, what I'm going to do is drop our link to the finals and that event right in the chat. So click that link so you'll have it open already. Just talk to Matthew. They are shooting for noon or earlier for the start of the finals. So I'm just going to go ahead and put noon, but it could be earlier. So just keep that in mind. Noon or earlier, noon central that is, for the start of the finals. So again, one more time, noon or earlier, the start of the finals. The link is in the chat for you. Click that, and you already got it set up. Open up another tab. That would be fantastic. And then as we watch, let me go through the scores one more time. Of course, scores are being added as we speak. I might even go live much earlier on the finals event just to get you guys situated. It'll be live, there'll be some momentary waiting, hopefully not too long, but a little bit of waiting as all the scores are confirmed, triple checked, double checked, etc. So that's where we are here. The finals are up next. Scores are being double and triple checked, and we'll know all of our finalists here in a moment. Again, once I conclude or end this stream, I'm going to go, again, open up the other final stream. I just rescheduled it for noon. I'll probably start it early sometime within the next 20 to 25 minutes, depending on how things go. We'll work with Matthew on that. So the finals are coming your way. I do want to thank Matthew. He joined me this morning along with Wartburg College head coach Alexis Runk, Hawkeye Community College head coach Roger Taylor Jr., and Spoon River College head coach Kenny Shockensee. Should be fun. A lot of great stepladder finalists. These athletes are amazing. They've earned the right to be in this position, vying for $1,000 scholarships and some awesome, awesome championship belts. So it looks like they're making their way with the backdrop down now. So, all right, so we'll go ahead and end the stream now. We'll start our final stream in just a little bit. Hang tight, folks. Appreciate you guys for watching. Big thanks to ADS Recycling, H5G, the Greater USBC, the Greater Cedar Valley USBC, excuse me, Rotogrip, all the sponsors here, YBSF, the other place, Hampton Inn, Experience Waterloo, and everyone who had a wonderful hand in what the YBSF is doing and competing or completing here on all right, folks, finals coming up next. We got you covered. We'll get that one, get that stream going as quickly as we know, and we'll be back with you in a moment. For all involved, my name is Emil Williams Jr. We will see you in just a few minutes. Again, click that other link. That's the finals tab, and we'll watch all of the stepladder finals go down right here on Bowl Stream TV.